City sports fans of all ages, Town Square Media is proud to present to you the best Quad City sports talk radio show in the world. With the face who runs the place, T-Roy, the OG on the marquee, J-Bird, and the cat who runs the chat with the stats, Statman Surge. We are Don't Hassle Us, We're Local. We're not a Quad City sports talk radio show. We're not the Quad City sports talk radio show. We are your Quad City sports talk radio show. Welcome to the conversation, Quad Cities. But first, the dawn.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the greatest show on earth, brought to you by our friends at Dunright Satellite and Dish. And this is Don't Hassle Us, We're Local on AM 1170, the K-Bob Arena. No.
Wednesday, April 8th, this day in history, 1974. Come out just firing right now. Hank Aaron hits his, I just wrote it down.
716th home run.
715.
715.
The tie. Oh, yeah. 15,
46
sorry.
years ago today.
It was 714. My bad.
He hit a 715th home run, passing Babe Ruth for first on the all-time list. He retired 2 years later with 755.
You know who he hit his last home run with?
With?
Yeah.
The team that he was with.
Yeah. It wasn't the Braves.
Brewers.
Yeah, he was a DH for the Brewers in 75. Which was where he started in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Milwaukee. Algonquin for the good land.
I want to party with this guy.
Jimmy Siokas in studio, T-Roy over here to my right. Thank you for listening to Don't Hassle Us for Local. He retired with 755. It has been since broken. Barry Bonds passed him with 762.
But Hank Aaron would have hit 900 if he had steroids. I'll digress.
He has 3 other Major League Baseball records. Do you know what they are?
Most RBIs?
Most RBIs.
Most
2,297 RBIs. Ruth is second with 2,213.
Highest career slugging percentage?
Pujols has 2,075. Pujols has 2 years left on his contract.
How many is he behind?
He is behind 222.
RBIs.
Ooh. Yeah.
No way.
Well, if it wasn't for the coronavirus, he might have a chance.
But he's not popping 100 RBIs a year still.
What did he get last year?
We can look that up. I will in a second.
I'll bet he got maybe 65.
He holds the Major League Baseball record also, Hammer and Hank, for 6,856 total bases.
Oh.
So
Next in line is Stan Musial with 6,134. Pujols is 5th right now with 5,863. So he's just under 1,000 total bases away.
You know my favorite Stan the Man stat? I don't know what his total hit average, 3,600 some hits.
Mm-hmm.
He had exactly the same amount of hits at home as he did on the road at the end of his career.
That
the
is good.
exact hit.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
25 All-Star appearances.
For Hammer and Hank?
Yes. He played 23 seasons, made the team in all but his rookie year and final years. From 1956 to 1962, there were 2 All-Star games per season. He made both squads all 4 years.
So 25 appearances, huh? That was 1974 when he hit number 715?
Yes.
I think if I remember right, in 1973, he finished the season, his last home run of the season tied him with Babe Ruth. So he had to go the entire offseason in a dead even tie. And, of course, we've all seen that famous home run where he rounds the bases early in 1974 where the 2 guys run out.
Well, that's the incredible thing, the amount of death threats he had in the offseason. It's insane. Now, can you imagine if that was me and then 2 white guys are running around from behind to come up and congratulate you? I'd fall into the fetal position.
Absolutely.
And he just keeps going.
Yeah, I mean, that was before you could, track people down, too, on these threats as easily as you can now. I mean, crazy. Yeah.
And is Hank still alive?
I believe so.
Yes.
He's getting up there in age, but what a great ambassador to the game. I remember that home run he hit. You know, a lot of people know that Al Downing threw the pitch. Here's the pitch by Downing. Swung on. There's a high fly ball. And I believe, who was the guy that tried to climb the wall?
I don't know. The only thing
it was the guy in the bullpen that got the ball. I think it was Tom House.
Okay.
But the guy who climbed the wall in left field, just as a showboat, because the ball was over the fence by 10 or 20 feet, but he tries to climb the wall way up high to act like he's going to rob it. We were just talking about him on the show the other day, and earlier today I told you he won a batting title in 1980 for the Cubs.
That was Buckner?
It was Bill Buckner in left field.
Climbing the wall?
He tried to climb the wall.
Just to be on the highlight reel?
Yep.
That's funny.
Dusty Baker was on deck.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah. Didn't Joe Torre play on that team, too, for the Braves?
Dusty Baker was a Brave?
He was on deck when he hit that home run.
I think Joe Torre was on that team, too.
Yeah?
Yep.
Did you know Dusty Baker was the first person to ever do the high five?
I did not know that.
As a Dodger? Him and I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been... It might have been one of the catchers. Who was the catcher before Sosha? Steve
Yeager.
Yeager. I think it was him and Steve Yeager.
Are high fives going to go away?
No.
Don't get all upset. I mean, are we going to look at these things? And we are going to look at baseball in Arizona.
All right, so all right. So human contact's over, huh? Is that it?
Well, we are going to look at baseball in Arizona later on.
When you get married, you can't kiss your wife now.
Well, for a while.
For a while, you kiss your wife. Well, you can't kiss your wife when you go home?
I don't know. Yes, I'm saying I'm not saying that.
Stay away
we gotta look at Major League Baseball in Arizona. That might be something that they're going to tell them not to do. And could we see?
Well, then we are truly.
Could this be the death of the high five?
I talked to the good
the
Lord,
fist bump?
and he said he's pretty sure we're screwed. Yeah, whatever.
The other thing that's a problem here, if there's about the 2020 baseball season, according to projections from Fangraphs, Mike Trout would have hit 46 home runs this year. If he would have then also projecting out a 23-year career,
healthy.
23-year career that would end in 2034, he would retire with a 2020 season with 783 home runs. Without the 2020 season, 737. So he goes, because of this season, according to Fangraphs, that he could cost him the home run title if he stays healthy.
Is it true that Trout got busted for HGH?
No.
I heard that.
I like that reckless speculation, though. I'm a fan of it.
Do you think he's using?
No, I do not.
Actually, I'm really I have no opinion of Trout.
That's the thing.
There's people that we know that listen to the show that love him, and I'm always just like, yeah, who's he? Like in my eyes, I'm like, so how many times has he been in the playoffs? How many times has he, how many ALCSs has he won? I mean,
you're right.
It's like he plays in no man's land. You never, unless you're a fan of him and you follow him, or you're following highlights, you never hear of anything. All of a sudden, you look at the stats. Stats are great.
He's the greatest player in the last 10 years, without a doubt.
I mean, he's way better than Bryce Harper.
How do you play in Los Angeles and play in no man's land?
Because it's Los Angeles. Think about this. Right? The Angels are not the Dodgers.
Right, and the Clippers are not the Lakers. I get it.
But they bought the Forum.
You start there.
But you have the population. You have the.
But even at the same time, look at football in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Rams left a long time ago because it wasn't that great.
The Chargers left a long time ago too. They went to
San
Diego.
Well, now they're back.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Which I wish they could go back to San Diego, by the way.
Yeah, I do too. San Diego seems lonely with just one team down there.
They just got to fix that stadium. That's a problem.
Qualcomm?
Yeah.
Used to be Jack Murphy.
Yeah, the old Jack Murphy.
Where Steve Garvey hit the home run off of Lee Smith in 1984.
I don't want to talk about that one. But yeah, I've been to that stadium a lot. I saw Ryan Sandberg hit a grand slam in that stadium.
I saw Barry Bonds hit a ball out of there like year 2000 when he was with the Giants.
Yeah, I don't know. LA just doesn't seem it never really gets behind anything because there's so much to do and you have such a melting pot of people, like seriously a huge melting pot of people from all over. I mean, people from the Midwest, people from up north, people from down south. You get this congregation there. So
why is it different than Chicago and New York? New York's the biggest city in our country. LA's number 2. Chicago's number 3.
I think spread out more.
Well, I think the reason for it is. Tell Siri not to interrupt me.
Yeah, Siri, leave me alone.
I think the reason for it is Chicago and New York were original National League baseball cities, and they had a 70-year head start. You know, L.A. didn't get baseball till 1958 or 59.
Yeah, the Dodgers
so by that
moved
time,
out there, yeah.
New York and Chicago, they were cemented with baseball. They had that history. They had those old ballparks. And L.A., they were the new kid on the block, and they've only had baseball for 60 years. That's half as much. That's half as long as New York and Chicago.
That's a huge part of it. Yeah, but think about it too. I mean, you look at L.A. What's the skyline of L.A.? There's really not.
Well, you
got some mountains in the background. You got the Hollywood. You got the Hollywood sign in the mountains. You're spread out there. It's not like it is in New York and Chicago, where it is high rises, everything built up within a very small space.
And it's much less of a blue collar town.
Yeah.
You know, people in New York and Chicago work in the factories. They need something to follow. They love their baseball. In Hollywood, they're worried about getting their nails done and seeing if they get the audition.
Yeah.
So sports aren't as important, unless you want to make a celebrity showing at the Lakers game.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, there's still some blue collar jobs out there, but it's everything's spread out. Mm-hmm. It's different, totally different.
I think the thing about Trout is that he is very quiet. He's not outspoken. He's not the face that Major League Baseball wants him to be. The only time he really has spoken up is when he did say something about the way Major League Baseball handled the Houston Astros. Yeah. And I even put something on Twitter. I said, this isn't the face of the baseball MLB was looking for when Trout, said this. According to,
he just wants to play ball. He doesn't want to have to do all the other crap, which is fine.
A loss of a year would be it won't hurt his career. He's an exceptional baseball player, but it is a shot at the possible home run king. Tom Verducci says that Trout is at the golden nexus of an athlete's life when accumulated wisdom. That's from 1,199 career games and 22,652 pitches seen intersects with physical peak. So this would have been his year, according to Tom Verducci, probably his best chance to make a run at 60 home runs. His power numbers, that's his home run and slugging percentage, have steadily increased throughout his career, while his strikeouts and stolen bases have gone down. 23 years is a lot to ask these days. We have a phone call.
Okay.
All right. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Welcome to the show. Who do we have?
It's the Easer A's.
Hey! He's a Mike Trout fan.
I am so tired of Troy's Mike Trout slander.
What did I say? I didn't say anything bad.
Oh, it's every time we talk about Mike Trout. Oh, he's never won. He's never done this.
But he hasn't.
Ernie Banks never won. Ernie Banks never won.
Okay, but I'm
Brian
not sitting
Sandberg
here.
never won. Barry Bonds has 0 World Series rings.
I'm not calling any of them the greatest of all time either.
Barry Bonds is the third best baseball player to ever play the game.
Well, then he doesn't have World Series talent.
If you take steroids away, he's maybe 50th of all time.
Barry Bonds was in the 400 club by himself before he ever took a single steroid.
He would have hit 512 home runs maybe without
400 stolen
steroids.
bases.
Well,
he hit 500
he's still a great
home runs
player,
and had 500
but I'm not saying he's the greatest player of all time.
If you
there's no way he's I'm telling you, there's no way he's Willie Mays. Willie Mays to me is probably the greatest player of all time, all the way around.
If you give every member of the 500 home run club the same amount of steroids that Bonds was taking, they would have hit 8, 9, maybe 1,000 home runs. So
I'm sure they would have. Would they have had the highest on base percentage of all time when he got walked 120 times intentionally in 2004?
Just take their numbers and inflate it the way that Bonds' stats were inflated after he turned 40. Simple. It's math, baby. You like apples?
It's not math. No, it's not math, because Barry Bonds was the most dominant player from 2000 to 2004.
Isn't that strange that it was after he turned 40?
You should. No, it's not after he turned 40. You should read Joe Posnanski's Baseball 100 article about Barry Bonds that came out today that named him the third best player to ever play.
Well, that's an opinion.
Yes, he is, without a doubt, with the PEDs he took. My gosh, the guy's stats were amazing. You're absolutely right about that.
See, you should really read the article, because it tells the Barry Bonds side, and it also tells the anti-Barry Bonds side. It's a very, very good article. I suggest everybody read it.
What's
the
name of it?
Really good.
It's on The Athletic. I'll get it.
But what about what you called jumping me about Trout? I didn't say anything bad. I just stated facts about Trout.
Trout's the best player in baseball right now.
I like
no
Trout.
Doubt.
I like Trout. He's like milquetoast. He doesn't move the needle. I'm just telling you, he doesn't move the needle. He moves it for you.
What baseball player does? What baseball player does?
What baseball player moves the needle right now? Oh,
yeah,
hands down. That guy for the rookie from New York moves the needle. The kid that broke the rookie home run record.
Oh, Pete Alonso.
Pete Alonso moves the needle.
He doesn't move the needle.
I'll tell you.
More people are probably common people know about Pete Alonso than they do Mike Trout.
I'll tell you who moves the needle.
It's Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper.
He plays in New York.
No.
But the other guy plays in L.A. That's what I'm getting at. It's milk toast.
But they play their games at 6 o'clock.
You're right.
Half of America's in bed when Mike Trout starts his game. That's why no one knows him.
Okay,
that's a good point.
But that is a good point. But maybe that's why you can't say that I'm wrong. I'm right. But the reason I'm right is what you just said.
I'll tell you.
It's not that he's not. Listen, I don't think he's a bad player. I don't think he sucks. You think I wouldn't want him on my team? You're damn right. We'll do it tomorrow.
I'll tell you who moves the needle.
He moves to Chicago. He moves the damn needle.
Jose Altuve moves the needle.
And by the way,
it's the little needle on his little buzzer that he has tied to his chest. He moves that needle.
The other guy I think really moves the needle is Javi Baez, and that's just because of his defensive play, hands down. What that guy does on the field, not on the bat, not with the bat, on the field alone, moves the needle. I think he's exciting to watch. There's other guys out there I think that are great.
Baseball, and then this is a bigger argument about baseball. Baseball is definitely more tribal and more localized when it comes to who moves the needle. Because if you look at who gets put on national TV, it is literally the Yankees, and then the Red Sox, and then the Dodgers, and then the Cubs. You know, I mean, even the years, being a Giants fan, even the years when the Giants win the World Series, I'd have to wait till June for them to get on Sunday Night Baseball.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. ESPN wants that revenue dollar.
Yeah. Well, it's because it's the fans. The fans drive, or the fan bases are the ones who drive it.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's East Coast bias because they play at the earlier times, they're on more TV and more people get seen.
Well, I mean, it helps that the Yankees probably have the largest fan base in America.
Well, and the Cubs are right there too.
The Cubs are there too, and then I'm sure that when you're talking about total fan base, I mean the Dodgers and the Red Sox are close behind.
Well, they're the Tiffany franchises of Major League Baseball.
Yeah,
those are the most heralded, organizations.
If you think about it, those are all original franchises too.
Yep.
So you also have if you think about this these days, like people like my mother's age. Well, she grew up as a kid. It was Mickey Mantle, and when and the end of Joe DiMaggio. So she was automatically a Yankee fan.
Didn't the Angels
That's
become
just how it worked?
Didn't the Angels become a franchise in '62?
I'm not sure when the Angels did.
I might be a little off on that date, but they were the Los Angeles Angels.
You're pretty close.
In 1962, and they had the unique hat that had the halo stitched into their hat.
I never saw that.
Yes, if you watch The Sandlot, you watch the movie The Sandlot, one of the boys has an LA Angels hat on, and it's got the little white halo stitched because they thought that would be cute. No, the franchise never took off. Why?
Because the Dodgers.
Because they had to compete with the Dodgers.
They were in Anaheim too, and they were in Anaheim. They were never in the city.
But at the same time, we're saying the Dodgers, the bums. I mean, the bums were the original Cubs.
And
you get what I'm saying with the lovable losers and all that.
And when the Dodgers left Brooklyn, they were in Brooklyn for almost 100 years. From the beginning of the National League in 1876, they won one World Series in 1955. Those poor fans. They leave Brooklyn, they go to L.A. The first year they're there, 1959, they beat the Go-Go White Sox and they win the World Series. What a slap in the face to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
As soon as they leave, they win. And then they became, in the 1960s with Sandy Koufax, they won 1963 and 65. They won 2 World Series.
Well, they had Koufax, they had Drysdale.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Was the Duke in the right field still?
Duke Schneider?
Yeah.
He did go to L.A. with them. I don't know if he was still there in those years.
He was kind of down. He declined a little bit faster than Willie Mays did.
Yeah.
But, we all know the song, Mickey, Willie, and the Duke.
Yeah. All the way from Boston to Dubuque.
And Dubuque is in Iowa. Easer A's right next to you. See, buddy?
Easer A's. What's the anti-Bond side of that article?
The anti-Bond side article? Oh, he talks about what a jerk he is. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
And that's the thing I think is wrong.
I don't like that.
And how, basically how no teammates liked him. When he was at Arizona State, the manager of Arizona State got the team in the meeting and he said, after his freshman year, they're like, guys, do you guys still want Barry on the team? And a majority of the club said, no, we don't want him on our team. He's unlikable. He's not a good teammate. And the manager's like, okay, well, we're still going to keep him on the team. But, yeah.
we don't really care for your opinion, but...
Well, I mean, the thing is... Go ahead.
He talked about when he was at Pittsburgh. When he was in Pittsburgh, he asked for $1.6 million in arbitration after his second year, which he didn't hit very well, even though with the advanced numbers from today, he actually put up decent numbers, not great, but he asked for that and for that money, and all of his teammates, like Andy Van Slyke, came out and said he's not a leader. And then, the newspapers got after him, said, he's not a leader like Andy Van Slyke. He's not likable like Bobby Bonilla. He's not this. He's not that. And then all the radio guys called him out and said they need to trade him, but nobody would take him. It's a really good article. Even for me, who's a Bonds guy, I loved it. Absolutely. It's so good.
Well, I could see that every time I saw him in an interview, even from his early days. I think he was a rookie in '86. I think he hit his first career home run in '86 at Wrigley Field. But I read an article that even when he was young, as a little boy, when he'd go to Boy Scout meetings, he was a difficult kid. He didn't want to do any of it. He thought he was better than everybody else because his dad was Bobby Bonds, and he grew up in a major league clubhouse. And if you raise a kid in that atmosphere and don't tell them they're not the greatest, well, they're going to grow up thinking they're the greatest. And
he said in the article, they said he was his dad. They were in Cleveland, and he was out in the outfield playing defense, he's 15 years old. He's shagging fly balls. And either an announcer or someone for the Indians was like, he's the best outfielder out there right now.
Well, he definitely had skills, but we're talking about his personality here. And,
his personality was terrible. And then he also said his part of his media was, the Bobby was the great what if. Bobby had so much talent and he never tapped into it. But he's the first guy ever to have 5 years of 30-30, and he was a disappointment, and he got traded all the time. And they said that really jaded Barry, and this article said it really jaded Barry towards baseball and towards the media. He basically trashed his dad, even though his dad was decent. He was good enough.
He's good.
Well, he made RBI baseball in my garage, I can tell you that. He's on the all-time Giants team. I guess the only one thing I guess my biggest criticism of Bonds, and it's the one everybody brings up, is that he couldn't hose down Sid Bream to go to the World Series.
Oh, remember that? Was it 1992?
I know exactly what it was,
Sid Bream,
he
runs like that sloth dude.
He had a 100-pound knee brace on one of his legs. Yeah.
I mean, how do you not hose that dude down?
I can remember watching that. Go ahead, kid.
No, he talked about it in the article, too. He said he was actually, some people claim he was a 5-tool, but he was actually a 4-tool because the arm just wasn't there. But he worked on that when he was younger on charging balls better than he ever did. But, yes, that throw will always haunt him.
Oh, yeah, that'll haunt him forever.
I don't blame Bonds for not making that throw. That's a hard throw to make. All right. And Sid Bream, he's slow, and he got it. What a great game. I can remember watching that in 1992 in the Fort Hays State University dorms. Half the guys were Pirates fans, half the guys were Braves fans, and you could hear, I'm not making this up, 30 dorm rooms going nuts when that throw was made, and everybody runs out into the hallways, and some people are falling on the ground in joy, some people are falling on the ground crying, and that was one of the most entertaining endings to a LCS I've ever seen.
Yeah, I was 10, and I still remember that.
I remember Van Slyke sitting in center field just sulking. Van Slyke sat in center field for an hour after the game. He didn't get up and go anywhere.
I like that.
Van Slyke the one that got beat up by Tony Catan?
No, that was Finley.
Yeah,
by who?
Yeah.
Tony
Chuck
Catan.
Finley.
The hot redhead from the Whitesnake videos?
Yeah. She beat up Chuck Finley.
Chuck Finley, right?
Yeah, Chuck Finley.
Yeah.
Was she dating Chuck?
Yeah. She beat the hell out of him.
Hell yeah. She dated everybody in L.A.
She dated anybody with money and a what.
Another funny story about that, the person who...
And she was in Bachelor Party?
She was.
She was great in Bachelor Party.
The next time that Chuck Finley played at a visiting park, the guy running the PA played Whitesnake's "Here I Go Again," and then the guy got fired for it.
And she's also the cover chick on Rat Out of the Cellar.
Yep.
Easy A's, thank you so much for calling in and having fun with us. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Bashing Mike Trout, Easy A's. Knock it off, man.
Take care, buddy. Be safe out there. Stay sanitized. Let's talk more baseball, but yes, what?
He said that he had Bonds as his third time all-time.
It's the Athletic. The Athletic's doing the top 100. So
he's a huge athletic guy.
I'm curious what they had as a top 2.
Well, it's come out tomorrow.
Okay.
So it'll come out tomorrow, and then also, we can look at the top, and we can do
if
it.
they have Bonds 3.
Bonds.
We can look it up. Yeah.
So let's recklessly speculate.
Go ahead. You guys do it right now.
I say Mays is 1.
That's a good pick. Bonds changed the game for the worse, in my opinion. He took a black Sharpie marker and went through the record book and just doodled all over it because he was on PEDs. You don't think that steroids are that big of a deal? When you play 162 ball games in the grueling heat and you're in your 40s, your body breaks down. You know what steroids does to that? Makes you feel like you're 20 again. I've had buddies who got drafted who played in the minor leagues, and they took greenies, and they said, my gosh, when I first took that, I felt like I was 12 years old all over again. All right? So Bonds gets to play his best 5 years after the age of 40, and he pretty much laughed at the history of Major League Baseball and says, hey, watch me piss all over this Major League Baseball record
greenies,
book.
Though?
And now, guess what? Greenies aren't methamphetamines, speed. Okay, and those became big in the 70s. So Barry Bonds comes out and says, watch me pee all over this record book, and he dominated, and he broke every single record, and he broke the single-season record. Guess what? Nobody cares anymore. That's a fact. When people get to 50 or 60 home runs, you think people are following them the way that when McGuire and Sosa did it? No, because it's been ruined. Okay, just like Disney ruined Star Wars, Bonds ruined baseball.
It all goes back to Star Wars.
It's a fact. It's a fact. Other people don't want to agree with me, but Bonds made the game to where people don't care about stats anymore.
I'm on this with you because as a kid, it was all like, is anybody ever going to beat the 60 or 61?
Yeah.
And it was almost like when people got to 50, it was a big deal. Now, you don't think it's a big deal, and if it does happen, you question if they're on some sort of PED.
Yeah, which is a shame because baseball, my gosh, you grew up in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
The same generation I did. The 80s were the only decade since the live ball era, which was when Babe Ruth first came out. 1923 is, I think, when the live ball era started. The 80s are the only decade that did not have a 50-plus home run hitter.
Yeah, Andre Dawson, 49.
49.
49.
49, and McGuire's rookie year, 49.
47.
Was it 47 or 49?
Yeah. I think he hit 47.
I'll give you the... You want me to give you the top 10? Obviously up to number 3.
Is it out? Do you got it?
I can give you the top 10 up to number 3.
You're going to go 10,
Hold on a second.
10 back?
Real quick. You said Willie Mays is your number 1?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with one of my heroes, and I don't know if they even have him on there. It's because he served 5 years in the military and lost 5 of his best years. Ted Williams, number 1.
Okay. I think he's at number 2.
What you got, Jay?
According to The Athletic.
Is Jolton Jimmy on there at all?
Nope.
All right.
At number 10 is Satchel Paige.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we're not talking hitters here.
No, it's baseball players.
Okay,
Baseball
got it.
players,
Gotcha.
Period.
At number 9 is Stan Musial.
Okay. By the way, Babe Ruth better be on this league.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8. Yeah, Ty Cobb wanted to come too, but none of us could stand this bitch when he was live, so we told him to stick it. That's my favorite line.
Is he 8?
Yeah, that's my favorite line in Field of Dreams.
Ty Cobb.
Yeah. Number 7 is Walter Johnson.
Okay, another pitcher.
That's the train, right?
Number 6 is Ted Williams.
6 is Teddy Ballgame. I can't wait to hear the top 5.
Number 5, Oscar Charleston, Negro Leagues.
Really?
Yep.
We're going to have to do some looking up on
Yes.
I can pull that up. The article's right here.
There's got to be some justice.
Basically,
in that.
just in the synopsis alone, when you open it, it says, how good was Charleston? He was as good as you want to believe. Because obviously there's probably stories and everything else. Number 4, Hank
his
Aaron.
name.
And then obviously we know number 3 is Barry Bonds.
And here we go, number 2 and 1.
So it's either Mays or Ruth and Mays.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Just at some other ones' names out there. Mickey Mantle's at 11. Roger Clemens is at 13. Lou Gehrig, 14. Josh Gibson, 15. Alex Rodriguez, 16.
Wow, A-Rod.
Number 20, Mike Schmidt, in a tie with Frank Robinson.
Can I say something really quick?
Absolutely.
So far, in all the names you've read, the only 2 IQs of using PEDs on all that list are Clemens and Bonds.
Did you ever hear, if I had to tweet this one day, and you weren't here, so I get to say it to you. I have to look it up. Someone put on Twitter, if you had to make a starting lineup to win one baseball game, what would it be? So.
No, you need a piece of paper.
I've got a great story about that.
Well,
but before we go off there, can you give me number 2 and 1?
It's tomorrow.
Oh,
tomorrow
they
and
haven't
Friday.
let 'em out
Yeah,
yet.
they haven't let them out yet. If you want to make that, let's go. Let's
I got
go
a better
take break.
question.
We've gone way over our first time through. Other stories. This was supposed to be the pro-am, the 3-par challenge of the Masters today.
This was a fun day. Man, this is such a fun day. Yeah. Nicholas Kidd hit a hole-in-one, I think, last year or the year before.
I think it was the year before. 3-par was supposed to be today. I'm glad Tiger Woods had time to get together, and last night would have been the Masters champion dinner. He did it with his family, which was really cool. He did the exact same dinner. The Masters winner gets to pick the food. The defending champion picks the menu for the evening. He had the exact same dinner that he did when he won it in 2006, the last time he won the Masters. It was steak and fajitas, sushi, and sashimi, and milkshakes.
I like milkshakes.
Later on, I'd like to hear what you would pick for a meal.
Me?
Yeah, later on. Not right now. We're well over our first break.
So you want me to read a thing, or you got a thing?
You know what? I don't want you to read it. You do what you got to do there. I don't know if you're arguing with an internet company or...
No. I'm trying to find this thing.
That's fine, though. I want to remind you guys about Locals Love Us and Locals Love Us Quad Cities, what they're doing. We talked to Chopper last week, and he's still doing the same thing on Facebook. What he'll do is they give away a meal, and what you do is you share the post, you comment in the comment section who you would have lunch with, and what Chopper does is he gets your menu that night after they draw the winner. He gets a hold of the company. Grubhub delivers it. You guys don't have to leave. He'll have everything for you. He'll get a hold of you. Tomorrow, it's a half Easter ham from Golik's Meat Market and lunch for 2 at breakfast at Barry's in LeClaire. So he's giving away 2? I don't know. But go to their Facebook page, Locals Love Us, Quad Cities, and you can look at that. Again, you share it, you leave a comment. Whoever wins, they'll set it up. You guys get to have lunch together. The Grubhub will drop it off. You guys don't pay a dime. He takes care of all of it. So while we're on this break, pull up Facebook. We're already on Facebook. And go to, if you're listening to us on Facebook and watching us on Facebook Live, we want to thank all those for out there listening to ESPN 1170 AM.
And happy anniversary to the Hammer and Hank.
That's right.
Home run.
Let's go. So go to localsloveus.com, go to Quad Cities, and go to Facebook and look that up and enjoy dinner with someone. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Don't hassle us, local ESPN 1170 AM.
All right, Jim.
For the Quad City Storm, and you're listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
ESPN 1170 AM.
Sheedy Family Chiropractic is your choice for chiropractic care in the Quad Cities. Chronic problems, joint pain, or recent injury, don't let pain slow you down. Sheedy Family Chiropractic in Davenport can help decrease your pain and improve range of motion, keeping your busy life moving. Same-day appointments available most days for new patients and $20 sports physicals. Call today or visit SheedyChiro.com. That's SHEEDY Chiro.com. Sheedy Family Chiropractic, getting you back to work, play, and life.
Very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Roy, who is feeling older every day, and I think this is universal for people in sports, that you sort of can calendar your own age by guys you saw growing up playing when you loved sports, having kids who are now playing sports. But Roy has never felt older than he did during the break when, very sadly, he just said to me, Frank Gore's kid has enrolled at Southern Miss. And it's the first time you can remember an active athlete of any sort having a kid. But it's only because Frank Gore has been in the league 4 yards at a time since 1982.
He's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere.
Why would you when you still get 4 yards?
Frank Gore Jr. is going to put it on the poll, Antonio. Is Frank Gore Jr. going to retire from football sooner than Frank Gore Sr.?
The Dan Le Batard Show, 9 till noon on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
With countless families staying home, Roto-Rooter wants to remind everyone that paper towels and most disposable wipes are not meant to be flushed. These items take longer to break down when compared with traditional toilet paper. As they make their way down the pipes, they start clogs that lead to blockages and can cause serious damage. If your toilet or pipes do become clogged, please give us a call at 563-388-9900. We are here to help.
Call Roto-Rooter, that's the name. And away goes troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
The Will Kane Show.
Joe Judge became head coach of the New York Giants. As I walked up today in the hallways, Mike A gave me that good to see you smile, but it's more like a wince because Nuno was nearby. We weren't really worried about anger so much as hurt feelings.
It was an apologetic look, like you'd see when you know somebody's had a rough day, like, how you holding up, big guy? How you doing, champ?
Wait a minute. We're all about honesty here. No one's like that. We want to see each other miserable. Like, that's what everyone was hoping for, is that I would be miserable, because it would have just been great for the show, right? Like, I would have to produce the show, and on a Monday after Jason Garrett's just sitting here clapping away, and then I can't even speak.
And just out of curiosity, not for any personal interest of mine or Mike A's or Bubba's, how miserable are you?
The Will Kane Show, 2 till 5 on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
Hi, I'm Mark Brenny from Brenny's Motorcycle Clinic with a few words about our current situation. Here at Brenny's, we are committed to being safe and responsible for the next foreseeable future. I intend on keeping my bike shop open to service our loyal customers. Keep in mind, motorcycle riding is social isolation. So, we have implemented curbside service for all parts, service, and sales. We will limit access to our buildings to those who need the help. Our employees are inside working on bike repairs, arranging financing for new and used units. We will pick up and or deliver units as necessary. Your best bet is to call on the phone or email our sales department with your requests or concerns. All our inventory is in our website, Brennys.com. There's no joke or punchline in this commercial, because I don't want to make anybody sick. However, when this thing gets back to normal, and they will, prepare yourself for some truly cutting-edge, tasteless humor from me. Sincerely, Mark Brenny, Brenny's Motorcycle Clinic, across from Alcoa, almost.
Once again, Quad Cities, we have better conversations off air than we do on air. But hey, don't worry about it. Some of you can come in live one day when we get through this COVID thing.
Yes, that's true.
But we're back. We're back here in the Hassel Castle, brought to you by Dunright Satellite and Dish. Right, Bird?
That's right.
That's right.
We can talk about this again. I want to continue talking about baseball. I want to talk about what's going on in Arizona. You brought up to Jimmy, Jolton Jimmy, about if you had to win one ball game and you had to make your lineup.
Yep.
What would you do?
And for those of you that didn't hear mine, because we did this off air, so I'm going to give you mine with the batting order. So left field, Ricky Henderson. This is leading off. Batting second, third base, George Brett. Third, center field, Willie Mays. Fourth, Babe Ruth playing right. Fifth, Lou Gehrig playing first. Sixth, A-Rod playing short. Seventh, Ryan Sandberg playing second. Eighth, Johnny Bench catching, and then pitching Koufax. And then Jimmy.
It's a great lineup. I had leading off, playing second base, Joe Morgan. Batting second, playing center field, Willie Mays. Batting third and playing left field, Ted Williams. Batting fourth and playing right field, Babe Ruth. Batting fifth and playing first base, Lou Gehrig. Batting sixth, playing shortstop, Ernie Banks. Batting seventh and playing third base, as big as a George Brett fan as I am, Mike Schmidt. I think he's the best third baseman of all time.
And he could have easily stepped in as Ben Magnum PI's stunt double.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And number 8, batting eighth, Johnny Bench. And my pitcher is Nolan Ryan.
Okay, we had a lot of the same.
Yep. How many did we have? You had Mays?
We had Mays, almost in the exact order of batting. Oh, you had Mays batting second, but we had Mays, Ruth, Gehrig, and Bench.
Yep.
You didn't have Pete Rose in there.
Well, can I tell you a story about Pete Rose?
Absolutely.
2 years ago, my buddy and I were able to go to Las Vegas. And if you know anything about Pete Rose, he claims he makes over $1 million a year by sitting in a little shop in a mall and charging $100 per autograph. And it's great. We went there. We thought we're going to meet the Hit King, and we did. And rumor had it that if you go into the shop and you pay your money, if there's nobody else in line, he'll sit there and chew the fat with you for as long as it takes till somebody else shows up, if you know your baseball. And I remember we paid our $100, and we went up there, shook his hand. He signed a baseball for us, and he asked us, he said, "Hey, who's the greatest offensive catcher of all time?" And my buddy, Grant Hartman from Philadelphia, he goes, "Mike Piazza." And Rose says, "You're right." And then he says, "Who's the greatest defensive catcher of all time?" And I instantly said, "Ivan Rodriguez." He says, "Yeah." Well, let me ask you boys this. Who's the greatest catcher of all time? And we both said Johnny Bench. He looked at us and he said, have a seat. And we got to sit there. I'm not kidding you. Nobody else came in. It was early in the morning on like a Monday or Tuesday. We sat there for 2.5 hours. And one of the things I told Pete, I said, Mr. Rose, I think you're the greatest baseball player of all time. And let me explain why. I said, baseball is more than just hitting. It's a smarts game. You have to know how to run the bases. You have to know how to play defense. Mr. Rose, you're the only Major League Baseball player in history who played more than 600 games at 4 different positions. You could do everything except pitch. So my theory is if you had an all-time tournament.
What were his 4 positions? First?
He played first base, third base, he played second base, and he also played
outfield, right?
Yeah, left field.
Left field.
So the guy could do it all. Now, if you had an all-time tournament where you took every Major League Baseball player, that's a lot, and you cloned them all 8 times, and you had this magnificent tournament with a robotic pitcher. The pitcher's neutral, all right? Forget about pitching because hitting's the fun part of the game. Everybody has this robot pitcher that throws equally as hard for all teams. And you have 8 Willie Mays, 8 Hank Aaron's, 8 Babe Ruths, 8 Ernie Banks, 8 Pete Roses, and they all have to go out and play every position. Because remember, to be a good baseball player, you have to play defense as well. Who wins that tournament? Pete Rose. The guy could play every position. He was a switch hitter. He could run the bases. And I told him that. I said, Mr. Rose, I believe with all my heart. Could you see Babe Ruth trying to field a grounder at shortstop? No. Could you see Barry Bonds trying to turn a double play at second base? No. I could see you do it. And Mr. Bonds, Mr. Rose, this is why I believe you are the greatest baseball player of all time, because you would win that 8-on-8 robotic pitcher tournament hands down. And you know what he said to me? You're right.
You want to be my agent?
That's what he said. He said, you're right. He is so confident. And I remember shaking his hands. As little of a guy as he is, what is he, 5'10"? All right.
Whoa.
His hands.
Taller than me.
his hands were just huge, and his forearms were just strong. And he's in his late 70s. The guy was just amazing, and he talked baseball like you wouldn't believe. He told us some incredible stories. You know who gave him the nickname Charlie Hustle?
Sparky Anderson.
Mickey Mantle.
Really?
Yeah. He was a rookie. I think it was 1963. They were at spring training, and of course Mickey Mantle by that time was a veteran. And the game came to the Reds were playing the Yanks at spring training, and they put a pinch runner in at first base, which was Pete Rose. And there was a ball hit in the gap, and he scored all the way from first base. And afterward, Mickey Mantle looked at the press when it was the winning run that he scored. And Mantle said to the press, he said, "Yeah, that I don't know the guy's name, but that Charlie Hustle, he really he beat us tonight."
Yeah.
And that's how he got the nickname Charlie Hustle. Cool. Yeah. The Mick.
He was probably pounding a cocktail when he said it.
Did you ever see the movie 61?
Yeah.
Great movie. I mean, those guys looked exactly like Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Holy cow.
So the rumored, T. Roy brought this up yesterday. We looked a little bit into this, the MLB's rumored contingency plan that's going to try to start a May or June start date for the Major League Baseball. It's being discussed between the league and the Major League Baseball Players Association. All players and essential personnel will live in relative isolation at Arizona hotels, only traveling to and from the stadium as to minimize risk of exposure. Games would be played in front of 0 fans. An electronic strike zone may be utilized so plate umpires can practice social distancing. Players may be forced to sit apart from each other in the stands as opposed to being gathered in the dugout. Arizona is not considered a hotspot for the COVID-19 as of right now. There are some problems with this, don't you think?
I don't know.
Some players don't like this. Some are already speaking out against it. But there are some issues here.
What do you see as issues?
It's an opinion-based thing, Jay. So go
okay,
ahead. What are their issues?
I'll give you this. I'll give you what R.J. Anderson from CBS Sports brought up as issues. Because I'm not saying I agree with all of them. Then I'll pull up what the player said after that. But
I could really care less what a sports reporter has to say. See, I said that, Lavora. He was getting on me about my tweet.
Because I think the biggest problem that trumps everything is no baseball. That'd be the biggest problem.
I was held accountable for this tweet by Lavora, by the way. Mm-hmm. It was something to ponder here. All right, I tweeted it out. The United States has become a place where entertainers and professional athletes are mistaken for people of importance. I've needed a doctor. I've needed a teacher. I need farmers every day. I needed an auto mechanic. I've needed a plumber, a house painter, and a lot of other everyday people. But never once have I needed a pro athlete, a media personality, or a Hollywood entertainer for anything. LaVoy, bust my chops. Aren't you a media personality? I'm like, no, you are. I go, I'd have to get paid for that.
I agree, man.
Right?
Yes. Here's to you.
What? I'm just a dude. I'm just some dude, fat dude talking to the microphone.
So,
Jay lets me come in and talk. That's it.
One problem is families. Our players just expected to be away from their families for months while they're holed up in an Arizona hotel. Chris Sales said, I don't really think I want to see my kids through a screen for 4 or 5 months.
Well, you're injured anyway, so don't worry about it, Skinny.
You know what my answer is to that?
Then you don't get paid.
Then quit and go sell insurance for $35,000 a year.
Well, you could probably make 50.
Whatever it is. You guys are pampered, and you guys have a dream job. And yes, right now we're calling on you to live in a hotel for a while.
Think about what the kind of money
I
and
do
how great,
agree with you.
great
Jay, would you
guys
go-
like Ruth and Mays and
Yes, the answer is yes.
Okay.
Like there's a button right there before you even finished. Yes, it's like that movie.
I was going to say, would you go live in a hotel for $10 million and not even play baseball?
Yes, I didn't. You didn't. Yes. To play the game that I love. Yes. Weather.
Wait a minute, I don't have to see my family for 3 months, and I get paid for $10 million. I mean, I love you, honey. I mean, no, I wouldn't do that. That's terrible, Jay. Why would I do that?
Here's the other one that I thought was kind of strange, that they brought up, and then I'll read some tweets or either quotes from Major League Baseball players. Weather. Although it's a hotbed for baseball venues, it's just hot, period.
Not that hot.
The
right
home
now.
of the Arizona Diamondbacks is the only one of those venues with climate control, meaning the league may be asking players to compete in extreme desert heat.
Play at night.
That could be especially concerning if the league wants to play frequent doubleheaders to make up for lost time.
Well, guess here's the deal. You play at night. You guys sleep in. You sleep all day. Your days are going to be a little bit different, all right? You know?
Have you ever played baseball?
Yes.
Andrew McCutcheon told me once. He said, during
the Andrew McCutcheon?
Yes. He said, during a 3-hour baseball game, an average outfielder moves for a total of 9 minutes. Are you telling me, I'm trying to figure out what words I can say on the air here,
Yeah.
that these pampered prima donnas, there are poor kids down in the Central American countries where it's 120 degrees every single day that are out there playing by choice, and they're not even getting paid. There's factory workers in blue-collar cities who are in a factory where steam is coming out of the vents, and they are in there every single day. And you Major League Baseball players are going to say it's too freaking hot in Arizona?
That's what I'm saying.
Give me a uniform.
Exactly. I got, dude. By the way, I forgot to give a shout out to my guys, connect to my MediaCom today, Jay.
Okay.
So I told them I'd give them a shout. But here's a job that I had when I first moved to the Quad Cities. I worked at Eastern Iowa Tire, and I worked in the warehouse, which is not anywhere close to being air conditioned. Right next to the warehouse, which is open door base, is the retread facility. Well, you have to bake those tires up to I don't know. It's a lot of it's real hot. It's hotter than a pizza oven, I can tell you that. And then dudes had to work in there next to it, and then they had to go in there and pull the tires out after they were done baking, and those tires are exuding heat. And then in the middle of summer, yeah, for a lot less than $10 million.
I know Arizona's hot. When we played spring on our spring break trips in college, we'd go to Phoenix, Arizona. We played at Arizona State. We played at some of the complexes that the same major league teams play at. It's hot, but you know what?
It's not that hot in May. They're just asking them to do May.
You deal with it, all right?
You
it's a
do it
3-hour
May.
ball game, and you know what? The dugouts are shade. And if you go out
But
there,
I'm
in
sure
They're sitting in the stands.
and it's
They'll
not
make shade for them in the stands. I mean, we all know they're going to make shade for them. Come on,
Hold
man.
on. It's just all right. So Mike Puma at New York Post _Mets on his tweet said one Mets player who asked not to be identified has concerns about the 30 teams playing an entire summer in Arizona. It's the desert, he said. Stuff doesn't live there; it dies there.
Oh, is that true? Wait, so Mike Puma's a big desert expert now? Actually, stuff does live in the desert. Ding-dongs. Cactus live in the desert. Coyotes live in the desert. Snakes live in the desert.
Now you have someone like Adam Vino. He says, I've seen the Arizona idea. I don't have any good insight, but I would be in the camp of supporting the idea. I'm sure a lot would have to go right for it to actually happen, but I'm hoping it can work. I just want to play.
And again, these guys that are complaining, like the Puma guy.
He was quoting an anonymous guy. Yeah.
Well, the anonymous guy, again, it's America. It's a beautiful country. You have freedom here. Quit, breach your contract, and go sell insurance for $50,000 a year. Don't worry about playing in the heat if you don't want to. My gosh, you guys, Baseball is the one sport where even if it's hot out, like I said, what Andrew McCutcheon said, you're going to be in the outfield, you're going to be moving 9 minutes in 3 hours. You're going to come in. You're going to come in every 15 minutes into the shade of the dugout. And you know these minor league complexes and big league complexes.
And they got water.
Exactly. It's cold water in there.
They got water. They got Gatorade.
I'm sorry. It seems like these people are pampered prima donnas.
Well, unless you're drinking the night before heavily, you shouldn't be dehydrated.
And they're making what? $10 an hour playing Major League Baseball?
No, a little bit more than that. $10 a second.
Wow.
Some of them.
The thing is that, yes, the family thing. According sources expect that it would be separating from the families would be indefinite amount of time, as long as 4.5 months. That we brought up. Injuries. What kind of medical staff are they going to have? Are they essential employees? You know, it's going to happen.
You'd
right?
have to have medical staff there.
Testing. Will testing be more widespread and available by the time the league hopes to jump into action?
That's a good question.
If the team tests every player on the 26-man roster daily, that would mean Major League Baseball is using over 20,000 tests a month. So that's a problem, because you're going to run into, we need these in these hospitals. They don't need them for a game.
This might be a good time to throw all caution to the wind and say, hey, we're not testing. Go ahead and use all the PEDs you want and see what happens.
Let's get after it.
See how many people grab their chest and fall over and die.
I'm with you, Jimmy. That, you know, if they don't want to do it, they don't have to do it. I'm sure there's plenty. What's going to happen in the minor leagues, right? Well, you can just bring those kids up, I guess.
That's a great question.
Because what is going to happen to them? Do they just stay home? We're not going to just have them play in AAA. The Des Moines, you know, the Iowa Cubs aren't going to be playing.
We heard the thing about there's about, I don't know how many, 15, 20, 25 minor league teams that are going to implode.
For real, or that what Major League Baseball wants to do? Because it's 42 that they want to contract.
42. I was wrong on the number.
I'm just saying. I thought maybe you read something about the numbers economically. It's going
Burlington, the Quad Cities, and Clinton are three of them.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: what's going to happen to this beautiful $1 million complex called Modern Woodman Ballpark? I still like to call it John O'Donnell Stadium.
Judy.
But what's going to happen to it? Is it going to sit there empty? Are they going to get a different team? Are they going to upgrade to AA?
I can guarantee you somewhere that my dad is sending an email right now to the Quad City Chamber trying to host the ISC World Qualifying Tournament there.
Yeah.
That would be right up his alley to try to play fast-pitch softball
with the Ferris wheel and all the rides.
Yeah.
But that's a beautiful ballpark, and they put so much money in there. And you can't tell me that if this happens with the 42 teams, that place is going to sit empty for a whole summer. Some teams got to look at that and say, that's better than any AA ballpark we have. We're a AA franchise. Let's move to the Quad Cities.
I agree, but isn't it a seating capacity thing?
Do you think they could fix that?
I would assume so.
Mm-hmm. I think we're going to have AA baseball here in the next 2 years.
Well, I certainly hope so, because, again, like you said, the park is fantastic. It's gorgeous, and we need to do it. All right, we do need to squeeze in our second break of the hour. So we'll just have to take a quick break. Word from sponsors, and we'll be right back. Don't Hassle Us Local, ESPN 1170 AM. We still got a lot to talk with you guys about. Good conversation. We got the UFC 249 that's going to be moved into an island in Cali. I've got some information on that. And
the Catalina wine mixer?
Yep, that's right. We got the NFL draft, and we've got, speaking of the Athletic, we're going to look at an article that was written last week. We're going to do a Where Are They Now?
All right, pizza lovers, Vance Pizza More is open by the Plex, and they've changed their hours to combat the COVID-19. Open from 11 to 9 every day with delivery all day long, and they're offering these specials to get everybody through these tough times. $5 cheeseburger basket, $7 double cheeseburger basket, a $5 personal pizza up to 2 toppings, $7 specialty pizzas, $9 any medium, $12 for any large. That's right, all day, every day, open 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. All you got to do is call 563-232-1396. They'll be delivering to all of Bettendorf and LeClaire, or you can stop by and pick it up at 5023 Competition Drive in Bettendorf. That's Vance Pizza and More.
This is Tom Kakert
from HawkeyeReport.com, and you are listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
ESPN 1170 AM.
Get your maximum refund and your taxes prepared for half the price with AmeriFile.
I'm Christy, a single mom from Bettendorf. I got tired of paying $250 at H&R Block, so I went to AmeriFile. As advertised, they did my taxes for far less than half the price.
Bring in a copy of last year's tax return done by H&R Block, Jackson Hewitt, Liberty Tax, or any other tax preparer, and we will cut your tax prep fees in half, guaranteed.
This year, AmeriFile has the best tax prep deal in town. Save hundreds having your taxes prepared with AmeriFile, and you get free Rudy's Tacos, free Whitey's, free Chick-fil-A, Hungry Hobo, or Fresh Blend Smoothies. Trust AmeriFile's 30 years tax experience to handle any simple or complex tax situation. Remember, this tax season, save hundreds with AmeriFile, the best tax prep deal in town. Free Rudy's Tacos, Whitey's Ice Cream, or Hungry Hobo. AmeriFile Tax Centers, Davenport, Moline, and Clinton. Call 762-8087. That's 762-8087 or AmeriFile.com.
H&R Block is a registered trademark. Half the price taxes from last year's fees. $75 minimum.
Escúchame, it is Dan Levatation, ESPN Radio.
It is funny to have a coach say, no, I didn't mean to call them thugs. I meant to call them slugs. And I just want to officially parse the dumbest possible way we could ever discuss race in sports. Did the old guy mean slugs or thugs? If he meant thugs, racist. If he meant slugs, just good coaching. Maybe he's just old and made a verbal mistake because they fly around a lot and he's old. It is a great defense, though. It really is, because I believe him. I believe that he meant to say slugs.
I mean, it's really the only defense you can go to, right?
Racist!
I'm old. I meant to say slugs.
No, slugs! I'm just old and doddering. I'm not racist. Just old.
The Dan Le Batard Show, 9 till noon on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
Sweet strawberry icing. You're in Goodwill, and just past that vintage denim jacket, you spot miniature donut earrings. You lean in. Ah, that's the scent of shopping success. Because at Goodwill, every item you buy funds local job training and more. So bring home those donut earrings and bring home so much good to your community. Goodwill. Bring good home. Brought to you by Goodwill and the ad.
When storm damage hits, All Major Restorations is your insurance claim specialist. Loose or missing shingles, dented siding, or damaged windows. All Major Restorations of the Quad Cities works with your insurance company, making the process quick and easy. The insurance company has people fighting for them. Let All Major Restorations work for you. Residential, commercial, and industrial. There's a reason they have an A+ accredited Better Business Bureau rating. Storm damage estimates are always free. Visit amrestorations.com. All Major Restorations of the Quad Cities.
Man, I love my kids so much. I once sat for 3 hours in the cold rain to watch her soccer team lose by 18 goals.
I love my kids so much, I once used a tube to suck snot out of her stuffed nose at 3 a.m.
You win.
Love your kids? Love them enough to make sure they're in the right car seat. From toddlers to tweens, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat to find the right seat for their age and size. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hey, this is Eric at Winger Truck Line, where we have been in continuous operation without a layoff for 74 years, and we are hiring drivers. During this unprecedented time in our nation's history, Winger Truck Line is staying strong and hiring for regional home weekends. We are busy serving our families, our customers, and our nation. How about you? Call me today, 800-593-6433, or see us online at drivewtl.com. Let's go.
Local talk. You found it. Don't hassle us. We're local. Noon till 2 on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
Welcome back to Don't Hassle Us for Local here on ESPN 1170 AM. I want to thank you all for listening on ESPN 1170. Reminder, you can listen on your smartphone. Go to wherever you download apps, ESPN 1170 AM. You can listen online at ESPN1170am.com. And you can also listen to us and leave comments on the Harrington's Pub Facebook comment thread. Go to ESPN1170am.com. You can still sign up this for our MTV The Challenge. Every week we have A weekly winner. This week's sponsors is Carriage Photography. Thanks to our friend JR who calls in. It's a $40 package to do a social distancing family photo. If this week you have put together the best lineup for MTV The Challenge, go to ESPN1170am.com. I'll talk a little bit later about the ESPN. Yesterday we talked to Bilal Muhammad. Will be fighting on a week from Saturday. And the UFC, we said that Dana White was trying to purchase an island. And he did say that he was looking at somewhere on the West Coast. He didn't mention anywhere. Well, in an attempt to, find the loophole in state guidelines, Dana White he plans to hold his pay-per-view on the tribal island in California. It's a tribal island. It's a Tachi Palace Casino Resort. It's 40 miles south of Fresno and sits on land belonging to the Tachi Yokut tribe. The loophole is by holding UFC 249 on tribal land, the UFC isn't subject to California's stay-at-home order, and fights don't need to be sanctioned by the state's athletic commission. The California State Athletic Commission has canceled all bouts through May 31st. The event will feature 12 fights. It's headlined by interim lightweight champion, the fight between Tony Ferguson and Justin Gaethje. We also said that Bilal is on the fight as well. We don't know who he's going to be fighting. Yesterday, we told you that UFC President Dana White claimed he secured a private island to stage events with international fighters. And I lost my spot there. There it is. Yeah, can't travel. There it is. All right. So, about being in California as compared to California, the Association of Ringside Physicians has urged the suspension of all combat sports. And that could be a problem for the UFC to attempt to hire ringside doctors. The crazy thing here is Dana White going to be looked at as a villain, or is he going to be looked at as a hero, bringing us competition and find out the best ways possible?
You know, some people want to be entertained, and some people think everybody needs to be recluses. So it just depends what side of the coin you're on. I mean, isn't this going to be safe? Aren't they going to check the fighters before they come onto the island? There's not going to be any crowds there.
Yeah, they'll give them. Yeah.
Are they going to Espn Island?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You sure they're not?
No, that's not where they're going.
Different coast. Where's Espn Island? That's in the Caribbean, right?
No, this casino here?
Epstein Island.
It's in the Caribbean. Yeah.
I thought the island they're going to fight on.
No, the one they're fighting on is just 40 miles south of Fresno, California. It's on a tribal land.
Native American reservation type thing? So the laws of California don't apply.
No, they do not.
And so you're going to have a handful of MMA fighters who are going to be tested before they come onto the island.
Correcto.
They're going to be non-coronavirus symptomatic, and they are going to...
It is a shut-down casino, though.
So there won't be any pedestrians there?
No.
Well, what's the problem?
It makes him seem somewhat like someone who's willing to bend the rules and go to extreme lengths just to make sure that two people go in there and just punch each other in the face.
Mm-hmm.
I say it's innovative, to be honest with you.
Well, there's a big demand for it. There's a lot of people who want to see this. So they're providing entertainment. And like I said, if there's no pedestrians there and these people are tested and they're non-symptomatic, I don't see what the problem is.
I think it's innovative. So, but
Jimmy just said it perfectly.
No pedestrians there, right?
I mean, if you're signing off, if you're a fighter and you're signing off, that you understand the risks. There are risks.
You'll be tested.
You're going to be tested when you arrive.
Mm-hmm.
Be tested before you leave. I would, or just to make sure you're whatever. Do your best to not come in contact or spread. Yeah, I mean you have to sign the risk contract. I don't know.
Bilal didn't sound like he was too worried about it. He's ready to go.
Yeah, he's ready.
He did not say, "I don't want to do this."
He's living in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's scarier than living here. So,
and Milwaukee
on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Just period. No, whether they have Wuhan or not.
Yep.
So, we lost John Prine yesterday, though, Jay.
My
dad called. He's bummed out, dude.
I saw that. Yeah, to the complications of the COVID-19.
Yeah, I took my dad to see John Prine at the Adler here a couple Christmases ago.
How did he break the news to you?
I'm sorry, I don't know who John Prine is.
Oh, he's a great
singer, songwriter.
Kind of he's kind of in between country and not. His songs are just kind of like storytelling songs. He's really cool. Just like
and he passed away?
Yeah. Complications due to COVID. He was a heavy smoker, though, so I think that probably had a lot to do with it.
On the Harrington's Pub Facebook comment thread, Eddie said, how the hell are they getting tests? Well, how the heck did they test a tiger?
I mean, there's tests out there. I mean, Eddie's got a point, because every time you hear these horror stories, we don't have tests. Like, where are the tests? I don't know.
If you've got the money, you can test and test quickly, I believe.
That's how all the NBA teams did.
I mean,
everything else.
Yeah.
I think I know of people that have gotten tested, but I like I said, I don't know what the availability is. I really don't. I don't know enough to talk intelligently about it, so I don't want to be like, oh, they got plenty, and they don't. Or I guess the only way I understand it is, let's say if you go to the hospital, Jay, all right, hey, I have this and this, and they're going to kind of examine you, and off their best judgment, they're going to say, okay, Jay, you're a pretty healthy guy. Go home with this, and this, okay? But let's just say, for example, Jimmy, you have symptoms and things in your history that make you more susceptible to death, okay? Whether it's being a smoker, whatever, blah, 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 okay? They're going to give you an actual test, and then depending on your symptoms, either let you go home or bring you in and possibly put you on a respirator if you're that far along.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, without knowing everything, I think that's kind of how it's going. So the tests are being administered to people that are either higher risk or, could be at higher risk, is what I guess, or like show like the exact symptoms.
It sounds like that's probably what's going on. I don't know for sure.
So yeah, I said I can't. I don't know, and at the same time, yeah, I guarantee that the UFC has enough money; they're going to buy some tests.
Mm-hmm.
Now that being said, I love the fact that the Department of Justice has come out and said, listen, if people are around hoarding supplies, test equipment, things like that, or driving up prices and doing like that, like hijacking like a shipment per se that was supposed to go to a certain place, and they're going to bid higher on it to get it so they can hoard it and sell it at a higher cost later and things like that. I mean, they're going to track those people down quick. That's going to come to a quick halt. So that's great. But who knows? Who really knows? I mean, other than if you're working for the federal government.
How many fighters are we talking about in this event?
What did I say? There was 12 on the thing.
On the ticket, 12. But then you've got cameramen, you got referees, you've got, I mean, we're talking at least 50 tests they're going to need.
Well, you're probably going to have 2 referees for the entire event.
Mm-hmm.
They'll go in and out.
Probably got
you have 3 ringside judges.
And you probably got some
12 fights, 24. 2 referees makes 26. 3 ringside judges, 29.
You got the medic people, the people who are going to
have medic people, so let's just count that as 5.
And there's a lot of other people involved in filming. You got sound
here's
people.
The deal. What I think they'll probably do is they'll probably have people that are filming it, but they'll have some sort of off-site way that they're gonna digitally transport that footage to a studio off the island.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I'm going to guess, to eliminate that exposure.
Yeah.
Okay. And then basically you got your managers and your ring people. So you're going to have at least and they'll probably limit you to that too. You're probably going to have probably down to 3 in a corner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to guess, not the huge entourages like we're used to. And then your announcers. You're going to have 2 announcers and Dana White.
So would you say 50 is a good number?
I would say you're probably close. Because they can limit it to probably 3 or 4 cameras. I'm just guessing. And if someone out there is done, I mean, we know some UFC people.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe we should reach out to Pat. Maybe we should reach out to Pat and see what he thinks, what the number is. Maybe we'll talk to him tomorrow about that.
But, I mean, I think the point Eddie's getting at, and it is a viable point, are we wasting tests on fighters that could go to people that truly, truly, truly need a test that aren't?
That's a good question.
And that's something I don't know.
That's what's going to happen. The more we do this, and the number of tests, that same thing, people are going to say, we're testing for people to do a game when there's lives out there that we need to.
That's where you got it. Yeah, that's where you get into the very, very murky water. And like I said, I don't want to I haven't lost anybody to this yet, but if it hits us at home, your opinion of this is going to change dramatically as to what it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just is what it is. I'm sorry.
That's true.
I'm sorry to be truthful about things, but you can talk about this, and this happening here, or this happening there, until it hits you at home. It's not the same.
Yep.
Like 9/11 was terrible, but imagine if you lived in New York City and you had family in the building.
Sure.
That was extremely worse than anything we all dealt with of the shock of it all.
Yep.
So it's definitely murky waters, Jay.
Take us out of these murky waters.
Yeah, let's lighten this up a little bit. Last week on The Athletic, we talked about the beginning of the show in the last hour about the site The Athletic, which, by the way, it's fantastic. And if you in these times, if you have a few bucks to have a subscription, you should do that. Scott Dockerman and Nicole Aubeck. Scott actually covers.
Scott's from Cedar Rapids.
That's right, and he covers the Hawkeyes for The Athletic. They wrote a "Where Are They Now? Catching Up with Fictional Sports Movie Figures." We actually did this when we were a podcast.
We did.
By
the way,
in the bar,
Terminator for an apocalypse movie.
We can come back with apocalypse movies after this. I'm in.
That's a great one, by the way.
All right.
So, I think when we did this, I was kind of thinking about Where Are They Now, and I went down this rabbit hole of Clubber Lang. All right.
Right. Yeah, I remember this.
truly believe that Clubber Lang, after the fight with if I had to do Where Are They Now, what he's doing after the fight with Rocky.
He went back to his apartment in the South Side.
He went back to his apartment in the South Side.
Or did he have much? How much money did he win off that first title fight?
I think he.
Did he blow it all?
Yeah,
he blew it on gold chains.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that Mr. T
Clubber
starter
Lang,
kit thing?
Clubber Lang ended up back in jail, in my story.
Okay.
But it's a redemption story, because he comes back, and he is actually in my fictional story. He comes back, and he now does analysis.
Well, is there going to be a Creed 3? Because in Creed 3, I want Baby Clubber to fight Creed.
What was the movie? Which Rocky was it where Rocky had a fight as an old man? He had a fight with the younger guy.
Yeah, Tommy Gunn. That was
no,
Rocky
no.
5.
That was Rocky 5.
Rocky Balboa.
Rocky Balboa.
Yeah.
When I watched that movie and they showed people in the crowd, I was surprised that they didn't have Mr. T come back and sit in the crowd as a spectator. In that
should have been an announcer. He should have been doing analyst.
Should have been doing something. We need to get Clubber Lang needs to come back into the mix.
100% Clubber Lang needs to be.
How
back
is it
in
we brought everybody back except Clubber Lang? And Mr. T, by the way, is one of my beloved childhood figures.
And you would think he would be.
Come on, Mr. T was the coolest dude when you were a kid.
Yeah.
How cool is Mr. T?
I pity the fool.
I mean, all I want to do is have a mohawk and long earrings like that. But Eddie would have made fun of me. Deerfield would have made fun of me if I walked around in grade in
A-team.
Middle school like that.
His name was B.A. for bad attitude.
Badass.
Yeah, I think it's bad attitude.
I think Mr. T. Don't you think Mr. T would have been more than game to play in that Rocky Balboa that movie? He would have loved it.
Yeah,
we're
out, you fool.
Yeah,
dude, they got to get Mr. T back in the mix. Jay, make your phone calls. Aren't you good? Like
I've met him, so maybe I can pull that. Somebody's brought him here.
Saying out to Mr. J.
I bet. Yeah, when I met Mr. T, he was signing an autograph for me, and he said, "Who do I make it out to?" And I said, "Make it out to Mr. J." And then he looked up, shook his head, no. And then I said, "Okay, Jay."
How tall was he?
He's the same height as me, just about an inch taller. Okay. I have a picture with him, and my buddy Scott Longbow, Paul Harning were there too. I had him do the thing outside the statue. Hey, woman. He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do it, and finally, I'm like, I'm going to be here all night.
So he's 5'5".
Yeah, right around there. Yeah, right around there.
Because I know Sylvester Stallone is short.
Yeah,
he's very short. Yeah. And when he hired Carl Weathers, who played,
Weathers is a 6-footer.
He played in the NFL. He played for the Oakland Raiders. Yes.
Him and Schwarzenegger in Terminator, or not Terminator, but Predator.
Predator.
When they lock and do the little.
Yeah, I think Sylvester Stallone liked to hire people that weren't at 6'4", because it would have made him look like he was a midget. So it makes sense that Clubber Lang wasn't that tall.
Yeah.
What would you say? Is 5'8", 5'9", 5'10"?
Yeah, I'd say that. I'd say 5'9".
By the way, you gave us a bunch of names.
Yeah, I did.
But I have to ask a question.
I just want to give you some.
There's one guy I don't remember who this is.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Clubber Lang's in jail. That's what you're saying?
I think afterwards he went through some dark times. I don't know how he got back in jail. He got caught up with the wrong crowd. All right, he goes to jail, but he gets his life. He gets his degree while he's in jail. comes back, and someone takes a flyer on him, a network, and he does a good job, and he's an analyst. It's a good story.
I like it.
Yeah.
Why is that? Who's Lance Harbor?
Lance Harbor was a quarterback that lost his starting job in Friday Night Lights. The only reason I have it is some of these on here, I'll read you what Scott and Andrea said, and you guys can say yes or no. How's that? That's all I was doing when I went through this list. I'm like, anybody you want to throw in, that's fine.
I've got Jimmy Chitwood all figured out.
You've got Jimmy Chitwood figured out.
Jimmy Chitwood. Are you ready for Jimmy Chitwood?
Where are they now?
Where are they now? So after winning the state title in his senior year for Hickory, Jimmy Chitwood went on to play basketball for the University of Indiana.
Okay.
Got hurt his sophomore season, blew out a knee. Never played basketball again because back there in the 50s, they didn't really know how to handle all those surgeries. Then Jimmy, being the legend he was, went back home to Hickory, where shortly thereafter they opened a beef packing plant. Jimmy, being the most popular guy around, eventually becomes the manager of that beef packing plant and retires 30 years later with 3 beautiful children, 10 grandchildren, and a lovely wife named Belle.
Well,
Jimmy Chitwood.
That's pedestrian right there.
That's pretty good.
That's Jimmy Chitwood.
That's a good where are they now story. According to Scott from The Athletic document, he says that he does go to Indiana, just like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not comfortable there.
Was it Bobby Knight?
No, it was way before Knight.
Yeah.
And if he can play for Norman Dale, he can play for Bobby Knight.
He's uncomfortable, doesn't know how to do outside of reaching out to Myra. He reaches out to his coach, his former coach, Coach Dale, Norman Dale, who is now at his first season at Indiana State.
Oh, he goes on.
He leaves after his first semester at Indiana, transfers to Indiana State. His senior year, Jimmy leads Sycamores to the NIT championship. Sort of like you said, he plays a little. They do play a little bit. He plays in the NBA, but
doesn't make the NBA.
Yeah, Hickory later on. Hickory ends up consolidating school districts, and he goes on to be the coach of the Hickory Apple Tree School District school. It's called the Mighty Oak. After his retirement, small school basketball powerhouse is now known as Chitwood High. Chitwood High, from that moment onward, and he gives the okay.
You want to hear
Jimmy? Yeah, I want to hear yours. Yeah,
my Jimmy Chitwood story. Well, the NBA started in 1947, and there was a small handful of teams. And what year did Hoosiers take place?
55. I
want to say too.
All right, just for fun, we're going to say that the team I'm going to talk about is still here. They were gone by then, but let's just pretend.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Chitwood is the first player to go straight from high school to the NBA. And who does he play for? An NBA team?
Lakers.
No, sir. That's a good team. He plays for the team called the Tri-City Blackhawks. You ever heard of them?
No. Are they from here?
Yes. They played at the Moline, where the Moline High School basketball team plays. They were a team in the original NBA sector in 1947, the Tri-City Blackhawks. I don't know the exact year, but it was in the 50s. They moved to St. Louis, and they became the St. Louis, ready for this? Hawks. They didn't like the name Blackhawks, so they changed it to Hawks.
And now they're the Atlanta Hawks.
Yes, they are. In 1967, they moved to Atlanta. So a lot of people living here in the Quad Cities do not know that we had an original NBA franchise. We also had an original NFL franchise.
Yeah.
The Rock On Independence.
Yeah.
In fact, the first NFL game, the first kickoff in this juggernaut league, the NFL, was played right here in the Quad Cities at Douglas Park in Rock Island, the Rock On Independence. So Jimmy Chitwood plays in the NBA. He does all right. And he goes back and he's a farmer after he's done. Oh, and then there's a young boy that he meets when he's older named Larry Bird in French Lick. And he kind of tutors him, and the rest is history.
Makes sense.
All right, I got Nuke LaLoosh, too.
You've got Nuke.
Nuke LaLoosh.
You've got
Nuke
Emmy
LaLoosh.
Calvin, Nuke LaLoosh from Bull Durham.
So he goes up. He ends up playing with the Mets, that late 80s Mets team. Him and Doc Gooden, they go on a cocaine binge, baby. And Nuke's never the same. But he tries to go back to Durham to ruin the marriage between that religious dude and what was the little girl's name who had on the center field wall?
Millie.
He tries to go back to break up Millie and that dude's marriage.
You can't kick me out of the clubhouse because my daddy would just take away the scoreboard. What do we need a scoreboard for anyway?
We haven't scored any runs.
So hold on, he goes to the Mets, but he gets called up with Atlanta and somehow gets traded to the Mets.
Yeah, gets traded to the Mets.
Parties
coke,
it up with
doing coke with Doc Gooden and Darryl Strawberry.
And then his big thing is to go back to.
Yeah, because he wants to hook up with Millie.
He wants to hook up with again. He still is remembering that one time that they had before his debut.
And by the way, he still has that Motley Crue T-shirt.
Yeah.
Hey, Motley Crue wrote a song about it. Ray Ann, she's a stan. Yeah, that's a pretty name. Is that Greek?
What do you have for Abby Calvin, Nuke LaLoosh?
Well, I'm going to incorporate a second character in this story, which is Crash Davis.
Yeah.
Who is one of my all-time favorite movie characters. I believe that Nuke LaLoosh played in the show for maybe 5 or 6 years, and during that time, Crash Davis, who was done playing minor league baseball, he became a manager. He quickly got to the show because he's a smart guy. So now he's managing for the Atlanta Braves. Nuke LaLoosh is playing for another team. Let's just say it's the Mets. And Crash Davis, knowing what makes this guy tick when they're playing against him in the National League where the pitchers hit, he orders his pitcher to earhole Nuke LaLoosh. And there's a huge brawl that entails. And, of course, Crash Davis, as a manager, goes out there to help break it up. And if you remember the scene in Bull Durham where he throws him the ball and says, "Here, hit me, meat."
Mm-hmm.
From what I hear, you couldn't hear water if you fell out of an effing boat.
Yep.
So same thing happens. The crowd's out in the field, the brawl that's taking place kind of separates, and Crash Davis throws Nuke LaLoosh a ball in the middle of the field and tells him to hit him with it. And Nuke LaLoosh throws and misses, and it becomes the highlight of ESPN Sports Center. And anyway, after that, Nuke LaLoosh, he goes on, he retires, wastes all of his money on Motley Crue paraphernalia. Of course, Crash Davis marries, is it Annie Savoy?
Yep.
He marries Annie Savoy. They're too old to have kids at the time. But he goes on and wins 5 or 6 World Series and becomes one of the best big league managers. And when they ask him after his career interview how he did so well in the major leagues, he gives all credit to Annie Savoy because she was kind of his second brain as far as figuring out how to make the players play well, play up to their potential. So there you go. You got Nuke, you got Crash, you got Annie Savoy.
I wish we could do that quote he tells. What do I believe?
I believe in the sweet spot.
Sure, we can find the TNT version of it.
I could call Scooter Lange. He could tell us the whole thing. He used to quote it every other day.
Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. I believe in open up presents on Christmas.
I believe there ought to be a constitutional amendment outlawing artificial turf in the designated hitter. I believe in slow, long, deep, wet, passionate kisses that last for 3 days.
Oh, my.
Oh, my.
Similar to what you guys are saying, Scott from The Athletic says that Abby Calvin, Nuke LaLoosh, does struggle when he gets up to the bigs, doing things that he also thought that might work, like Annie's garter belt and whatnot. But he doesn't get along. It's not working out for him. He reaches out to Crash, asks for advice. Crash tapes himself asking questions and mails a cassette to Nuke. Basically, the whole thing, just to relax. Practice your interview sessions, everything he did during the thing. We're going to take it one day at a time. Eventually, Nuke starts the next season in AAA and is traded to Texas as the Braves inch toward the pennant. 3 years later, he reunites with Crash, now the Rangers bench coach. That season, Nuke wins the Cy Young Award, and the Rangers win the American League pennant. That's, of course, Scott Dockerman. So pretty similar. They did bring in Crash into that whole thing.
Well, you have to.
Yep. Now, Lance Harbor, because you guys both brought that up from Varsity Blues. This is what they wrote in The Athletic. Bud Kilmer's medical negligence prevents strong-armed Lance Harbor from playing football again. After recognizing his football acumen in the recruiting process, Texas A&M signs Harbor and places him on a medical scholarship. By his 4th year, Harbor is the Aggies' de facto quarterback's coach. SMU hires Harbor as offensive coordinator concurrent with his graduate courses. In his 3rd season, Harbor pushes the Mustangs to the Cotton Bowl with the nation's highest scoring offense. Texas A&M rehires Harbor as offensive coordinator at age 26 and promotes him to head coach at age 29. It's not bad. It's not my favorite, but I just wanted to throw it in and see if you guys had anything other. But it's a movie. I mean, you were done.
I never really got into
I was
that.
like 22 at the time when that came out. So I mean,
never saw the movie. So
you never saw
I'm
Varsity
more
Blues?
interested in what happens with Loudon Swain.
I'm not a fan of what they say happens to Loudon Swain.
Well, see, my thought on Loudon Swain.
We're talking about the wrestling movie Vision Quest,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So, after being the shoot.
Yep.
Okay. And if remind me correctly, this movie took place in Washington State.
It did. Yep.
Okay. Loudon goes on to wrestle for Oklahoma State in college.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay. It's pretty good, but he's number 2 in his own at his weight class in his own college. So then he transfers to Fresno State, where he goes on to win the NCAA title his senior season.
Okay.
Moves home, becomes the head wrestling coach at his high school, and he's a legend. They named a gym after him and whatever else. I like Loudon Swain. I think he was cool.
Loudon Swain was a goofy character. You do remember that he wrote an entire thing for the newspaper about the school newspaper about the women's clitoris. Like, he was a goofy guy.
Yeah.
He cut 22 pounds to wrestle Brian Shute for really no reasons other than that he felt like he was 18 and hadn't accomplished anything in his life.
Right. That's why this dude couldn't get the number 1 spot, but he went on, transferred to Fresno State, and won it.
He beat out his best friend along the way, the guy who actually was also Jake Ryan in 16 Candles.
Yes.
And wasn't Native American.
Right.
Not even Native American, man. So Loudon also gets yelled at by a wrestler during the thing when he's like, "Why are you doing this, man? And you're hurting the team." And Loudon's like, "It's not a team sport when the whistle blows." Obviously, he doesn't care it's a team sport because he did that to his best friend. This is what Scott Dockerman says. After a shocking throw in the final seconds to pin Brian Shute, Swain gains 10 pounds within hours of the wrestling miracle. He wins the state 178-pound championship and earns a scholarship to Oregon State. Shute heads to Minnesota, and the two face off at the ensuing NCAA tournament. Shute beats Swain by a second period technical fall en route to the first of his 4 national titles. Swain leaves wrestling after 2 years to train for the Iditarod. Shute wouldn't have gone to Minnesota at this time.
No.
Minnesota
He
wasn't.
went to
Jay
Iowa.
Robinson wasn't there yet. He would have gone to Iowa. He would have been at Iowa. Your Oklahoma State for Loudon Swain's good too.
Yeah.
The Oregon State
Oklahoma State was a powerhouse.
Oregon
back
State
then.
wasn't there yet either. Iowa State would have been in the hunt here too by recruiting.
And Fresno State was a good wrestling school that little people don't know about in the mid to late 80s. It was a decent wrestling school.
Do you have anything for Loudon Swain?
By the way, Jay, I know a guy that I stole some of that story from a dude's true life.
Which one? Goes to Fresno State?
Oklahoma State to Fresno State, yeah.
That's
the
great.
guy I was stationed with in the military. He was 6th in the nation at his weight class. But at Oklahoma State, he was the 2nd in the house. He was 2nd in house, ranked 6th in the nation, but 2nd in his house at his weight class.
Yeah.
So he transferred to Fresno State. Went on to wrestle for the Olympics and for the Marine Corps and everything else. But he did really well. I don't know if he won the national title at Fresno State, but I made that up for Swain. But he went on to wrestle for the Olympics Marine Corps wrestling team. And now he's a coach back where I think he grew up in Southern California. Andre Bartlett, look him up.
I will.
I have a lot of friends from college who were really good wrestlers. Garden City was one of the top JUCO wrestling programs in the country, and Fort Hays State, even though it was Division II, they had a really good wrestling program. So Cully Jackson, Eddie Woody, Ben Loggins, and the late, great Kit Martin. These guys lived for this movie Vision Quest, so I kind of understood it through them, these wrestlers who were cutting weight all the time. I think that Loudon Swain, he was sexually frustrated. I think he
wasn't.
I think he gave up everything after high school and just he and whatever what was the girl's name in that movie?
Who cares? She was hot.
Carla.
Yeah, she was hot. I think he just settled down with her. He went and managed a grocery store, and they had 12 kids.
Did you ever have any private time to her, Jay?
Listen to me.
What?
Carla, who is it? Carla, whatever else. This is her first acting role. None of this makes sense that this woman's traveling from somewhere on the East Coast to somewhere in California and the car breaks down in Spokane, Washington.
You know what always bothered me about Vision Quest?
Plenty. That he dropped 22 pounds.
No, but the one thing. There's a scene in there where he's playing basketball. We all know there isn't a wrestler alive that can play basketball.
Yeah.
Where's Eddie at? Where Eddie knows.
I agree.
Love you, Jay.
No. This is apparently, yeah. There's a lot of the one thing cutting the weight is the biggest of all of them.
Dude, when we'd have basketball practice and you just look at the wrestlers come out of the wrestling room. They come out of there down in this dungeon. at West Waterloo, and they'd come up. And in my senior year, we won state. Our team did.
Waterloo West?
Yeah, Waterloo West did. And these guys, we had a ton of dudes that were just great wrestlers. Mm-hmm. Like Andy Showalter, for example. He won state. I think he went on to wrestle for you and I. But those dudes would come out of that wrestling room just drenched, just wrecked. I'm like, good Lord. I never wanted to do that.
Well, that leads me to a really good question here.
Sure.
Maybe this is for another show. You take all the sports, basketball, football, baseball, hockey, wrestling, and you take the best athletes from each one of those sports and you make them go to the other sports. Which sport is going to have the best success with their athletes transferring to another sport?
That's an easy one. That one's easy.
I would say baseball.
It's baseball.
And I argued with my fiance about this, and I told her, I said, if you took LeBron James and Jimmy Garoppolo and Mike Trout, or whoever you want to pick,
okay,
and you had them transfer, I would say Mike Trout would have a much better chance at sinking a three-pointer or catching a slant pattern pass than LeBron James or Stephon Curry or Jimmy Garoppolo would have at putting the bat on a 100-mile-per-hour fast pitch. Baseball is the hardest sport in the world. That's why you succeed 30% of the time. Could you imagine if LeBron James only sank 30% of his shots? Or if Tom Brady only completed 30% of his passes? But if you succeed in baseball and hit that ball 30% of the time, you're a Hall of Famer.
Success means you're bad 7 out of 10 times.
Yes.
Well, the other thing is this. There's not a lot of times that you hear... all right, so you have... forgive me. The tight end for the Chargers, longtime tight end, played basketball at Cal. But then
Kellen Winslow. Okay. Oh, Antonio Gates.
Yeah, okay. Right. That's the rarity where you have the two sports that aren't involving baseball. But majority drafted them are from baseball and the other.
I would say the majority of basketball players, just depending on their weight per se or their body style, could easily do something in the NFL.
Sure, but that's
especially
football.
At wide receiver, tight end.
Absolutely.
Even if they bulk up a little bit, defensive end.
They've got that hand-eye coordination.
They would be defensive ends or linebackers.
They can jump out of the gym.
Oh, their athletic abilities.
Yes.
I would say just pure athlete-wise, a basketball player is going to be able to do a lot of things really, really, really well. I think they're probably faster.
I think they're more athletic, but I think a baseball player can do more sports.
But a baseball player would be able to do more sports because, one, they are athletic.
The mechanics and the fundamentals.
And like that, else. They should be able to do things well enough.
And no offense to football or basketball players, these guys are great athletes. And of course, you have the anomaly like Patrick Mahomes, who was drafted in baseball. That guy could play both, but for the most part,
Murray.
Your average football player is going to go out to center field when a ball's hitting the gap and have no clue where to throw the ball.
But think about this: a basketball player, height and everything else. Jay, how would a basketball player do in a wrestling match? Chances are not good.
Not well.
They would do better than a wrestler would do with a baseball bat.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that.
It's the hardest thing to do in sports. Is hit a
baseball. No.
Who's going to be better at baseball, a wrestler or a basketball player?
I think you're missing the thing. Is it as a single sport athlete, like someone that just grew up just doing baseball, and then you take them out of their element and put them in there, or are you just saying? Because I guess you're right. A wrestler, if he just grew up starting at age like 4, like Loudon Swain's kid, and then all of a sudden he was like, hey, I want to try baseball at the age of 16. No, then he's in big trouble. Yeah.
Which athlete is going to look the stupidest in which sport? Anybody trying to play baseball. Where that baseball player is not going to look near as stupid going to play the other sports.
Well.
Go ahead and say it, Jay. You're right.
No, I think
you're right, Jimmy.
I think you're right, but I just don't think. I think taking it one from the other, because I don't think baseball players just don't really, or I don't really look at it as an exclusive sport. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, who can transfer over more and everything else, and there's more people, and you can say, well, there's 45 rounds of the draft. But there's more people that get drafted that we know of. I mean, you look at John Elway. Tom Brady got drafted.
Mm-hmm.
We just mentioned Kyler Murray. We mentioned Patrick Mahomes. Like that's usually the only person that's really baseball that we know of is Dave Winfield. But Tony Gwynn got drafted.
Were quote unquote great pitchers.
And we're not talking about pitching here because a pitcher succeeds 70 to 80% of the time. A hitter, we're talking about hitting a baseball.
Yeah,
that's the most complicated thing to do in any sport.
We got to take a break. We'll come back. Let's take a look at some more athletes, the fictional athletes. Where are they now? In
All right, let's talk about Bayside Bistro Quad Cities. They're in the village of East Davenport, and they're not just your ordinary sandwich shop. You won't find deli meat on the menu. They only use fresh ingredients, and orders are made from scratch. From the paninis like the Bayside Po' Boy and the roasted beet and green bean salad, Bayside Bistro has an incredible menu that specializes in deliciousness. And don't forget about their smoothies and fresh juices that they make, and their incredible dinner entrees as well. Don't take our word for it. Check out their Facebook page and read over 500 recommendations from guests. Stop by Bayside Bistro today at 1105 Christie Street in the East Village of Davenport.
This is Josh Sides, head coach, St. Ambrose University Esports. You're listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
ESPN 1170 AM.
With countless families staying home, Roto-Rooter wants to remind everyone that paper towels and most disposable wipes are not meant to be flushed. These items take longer to break down when compared with traditional toilet paper. As they make their way down the pipes, they start clogs that lead to blockages and can cause serious damage. If your toilet or pipes do become clogged, please give us a call at 563-388-9900. We are here to help.
Call Roto-Rooter, that's the name. And away goes troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Sheedy Family Chiropractic is your choice for chiropractic care in the Quad Cities. Chronic problems, joint pain, or recent injury, don't let pain slow you down. Sheedy Family Chiropractic in Davenport can help decrease your pain and improve range of motion, keeping your busy life moving. Same-day appointments available most days for new patients and $20 sports physicals. Call today or visit SheedyChiro.com. That's SHEEDY Chiro.com. Sheedy Family Chiropractic, getting you back to work, play, and life.
You're right on par in your M&M golf car.
M&M Golf Cars, your authorized club car dealer, invites you to check out the new Onward by Club Car. Onward's all new accessories personalize nearly every detail to fit your lifestyle. Customize yours at mmgolfcars.com. 0% financing for 24 months through the end of the month. M&M Golf Cars, Bettendorf.
Right on par in your M&M golf car. M&M golf cars.
Are you sitting at home wondering what to do? Right now, you can help the most vulnerable children in our community from the comfort of your home. Every pre-order you place for the Big Brothers Big Sisters plant sale in May will help children and their families right now. And all pre-orders, no matter what you spend, can be delivered to your home. Place your order today by going to plantsale.org. That's plantsale.org. Help grow potential in QC Kids.
See, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Roy, who is feeling older every day, and I think this is universal for people in sports, that you sort of can calendar your own age by guys you saw growing up playing when you loved sports, having kids who are now playing sports. But Roy has never felt older than he did during the break when, very sadly, he just said to me, Frank Gore's kid has enrolled at Southern Miss, and it's the first time you can remember an active athlete of any sort having a kid, but it's only because Frank Gore has been in the league 4 yards at a time since 1982.
He's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere.
Why would you when you still get 4 yards?
Frank Gore Jr. is going to put it on the poll, Antonio. Is Frank Gore Jr. going to retire from football sooner than Frank Gore Sr.?
The Dan Le Batard Show, 9 till noon on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM. From the Sheedy Family Chiropractic Studios, this is the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM, KPOB, Davenport.
Ready? All right, everybody, back here in the Quad City Palace of Hassleness. And this is Don't Hassle Us, We're Local. All right, guys, a quote from a movie. I want you to tell me what movie it's from.
Mm-hmm. Is it May the Force Be With You?
No. Yeah, I ready.
What?
The quote.
Oh, it's...
Yeah, I ready.
Is that those South Park guys?
Nope.
Oh, sounds like your Cartman.
Give you a hint.
Okay.
Emilio Estevez.
Emilio! There he was, the Breakfast Clubber himself. Yeah, ready? Emilio Estevez.
Yeah, I ready.
Is that Young Guns?
Young Guns 2?
Young Guns 2? Okay.
Remember when they're on the ranch? and it's Mr. Chisholm. Mr. Chisholm has his bodyguards. He's like, yeah, I'm going to go for my gun. If you can get and shoot me faster than that, who's your best gun? It was this one guy. He was, you ready? He goes, yeah, I'm ready. Steve. boom, or whoever it was shoots the guy when he doesn't go for his gun.
I don't know. I haven't looked at the weather as of right now. I know at some point, maybe today, it's supposed to rain, but 40% is anything big. But I do want to remind you.
Hail last night, boys.
I know.
You guys, how'd you fare in your neighborhoods?
Came out smelling like a rose, thank God.
Oh, man. Some of the guys, unfortunately, friends of mine at Entertainment Expressions weren't so lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Their vehicles got dented up pretty good. I saw Mr. Lavora had a giant ball in his hand. It looked almost like a baseball, and it looked like he drew and made it look like the Death Star. He goes, "That's not a small moon."
Wasn't too happy about it because the weather person that I was following, I'm not going to name anybody, said that here's where it is. It's going to Tipton, and everything's going to be north of us in this area, the Quad City viewing. I mean, the Davenport, the Quad City area. Maybe a little bit of Eldridge, but more like DeWitt. We won't get hit with any of this hail. And I was like, I should probably put my car in the garage. And I was like, nah, man, I'm not putting my car in the garage. It's
Did
cool.
it get dented?
No, it didn't actually, but I didn't put my car in the garage, so it didn't get dented.
It wasn't your boy for Channel 4. Our boy for Channel 4 is solid.
Yeah, I know he is. Let's not get it. But if you get time to go out today or anytime this week, I want to remind you that Hidden Hills Golf Course is still open. It's a first come, first serve. Single riding carts are available, $25 to play 18 holes with a cart. That's not bad.
Big Mike Morgan out there.
$25. You can even take the kids out. They can play for free. So I would suggest, like you said, first come, first serve, so there's no real tee times. But you can always call and see what's going on, 563-332-5616. You can't get in the clubhouse, but they will swipe your card. They do it. I mean, they sanitize the carts in between, everything else like everyone else does. That's at 4335 Indiana Avenue in Bettendorf. Basically, Middle Road and I-80, just north of the TBK Plex. So, the Betplex, if you will. There's a practice area up there, and it's 4 bonus holes to play. Let's get out there, get some fresh air. Even if people are going to yell at you and say, like, you're not doing the right thing, social distancing, you are. Let me be the one to tell you. If you feel like you're not doing the thing, social distancing, by playing golf, just remember that I support you. I say you are.
What about Rod Tidwell, Jay? I got a thought.
Rod Tidwell from Jerry Maguire. Where is he now?
Jerry, I don't want to hear you na-na-na-na. I lost Kush the night before the draft.
All right, so this movie was done in what year? This year was like 96, right?
5 minutes. I'm sick of myself already.
Middle 90s.
Yeah, and that's 96, 97.
All right, so this is my thought. So Tidwell signs that contract on Roy Firestone and cries. 2 years later, he's traded to the greatest show on turf. And goes on to win a Super Bowl
the St.
with the
Louis
St. Louis Rams.
Yes.
Okay.
I like it.
That's pretty good.
And then his career kind of gets a little bit older by then. His career kind of comes to the thing. He moves back to Arizona, his home state. And he goes on to be a positions coach for his Sun Devils, correct? He
Arizona
was a Sun
State.
Devil.
Yes, he was.
It's pretty good.
Where he's still at today.
That's pretty good.
And him and Jerry are lifelong friends. And
Jerry,
kids.
you are.
Don't shoplift the pootie, Jerry.
To my agent, Jerry Maguire, you are the ambassador of my Quan. I said I wasn't going to cry, Roy. Said I wasn't going to cry.
I don't
want to go first, Jay?
No, go ahead. You've got it. You go ahead. Keep going. What do you got? Rod Tidwell, where is he now?
I think Rod Tidwell, he signed that big contract via Jerry Maguire, and he played out his above-average NFL career with the Cardinals. And when he was done, he invested his money in Camelback Road Chevrolet, which is the car company that he tried to do a commercial for. And he had all the commercials with starring himself, and he told the cameraman, like he said in the movie, "Yo, put the camera low, shoot me up high, make me look taller." So he became a legend in Phoenix as the car genie, if you will, and he's a multimillionaire now. He owns all these car lots.
Is it called Quan Motors?
I like that. Quan Motors. And he and Jerry Maguire are best friends. And I think later on in life, because he had a little boy in that movie.
Yeah.
His little boy goes to Arizona State, and his little boy makes it to the NFL, and he just lives vicariously through his little boy.
It's really funny, though. So Maguire ends up messing it up with
Dorothy.
With Dorothy.
Yeah.
She moves to Iowa to get away from all these douchebags in California. Hooks up with this really cool guy named T-Roy from Waterloo,
Oh, you got a crush on Renee Zellweger?
Oh, yeah, dude.
And then she just... and then on the weekend, she just makes a living doing Jewel cover songs.
Yeah, so I
like it. I like it.
She made out. She dated T-Ray for like 10 years. They made out, and then I had to marry Mookie. Sorry.
So you guys are still married now?
No, I married my real wife.
Okay.
Yeah, they made out. Yeah.
I can't. Like, I love my daughter too much. I can't not have that.
You can't change those things.
By the way, my wife's in big trouble. She knows why if she's listening.
Uh-oh.
Talking
Just
about
funny stories. I found out about her. She has on Google. What do you call it when you keep track of all your appointments and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
All the way back to 2007.
Yeah.
So we were tracking things that she was doing back in the day before we were in item.
And she's in big trouble?
Oh, she knows she's in big trouble.
Speaking of that.
She had her Google Calendar all the way back to that?
Oh, yeah, we were going
like her
back.
dates and everything?
Everything she did. Every little thing that she was up to. And I'm like,
She put it down.
I hate Google Calendars. I got a big, huge wall calendar that I buy once a year, and I write everything in hand. You know what? That's good enough for me.
I'm a pen and paper guy too myself, buddy.
Speaking of big trouble, though,
Little China.
We watched a movie last night, which is the weirdest movie I've ever seen. It's called The Shape of Water. You ever seen this movie?
You know, I haven't seen it yet. That's where like the person's made of water, and you can't.
No.
You can't make love to them.
If you like wearing a beret and smoking cigarettes in a French coffee house, you might like this movie. But tonight, my fiance and I, we're going to watch. She's never seen it. Big Trouble in Little China. That's the movie for tonight.
Dude, that's such a great movie.
I give it 2 thumbs up.
What's his name?
Jack Burton and the Pork Chop
Burton.
Express, and I'm talking to who's ever listening out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I told my last wife. I said, honey, I never drive faster than I can see. Besides, it's all in the reflexes.
Love that movie.
Where would Shooter McGavin be this
Hold
day?
on, Jay. What's your Rod Tidwell?
I don't have one.
Okay, move on.
They did. It's pretty similar what they did in the Athletic. Kind of one of the things is that after he does retire though as a Cardinals legend, but he goes on doing things like NFL analyst, and he signs on with he starts working with Good Morning America. So and the idea of Quan goes viral eventually, and now he gets paid doing motivational speeches about Quan. Jerry Maguire writes a book, Help Me to Help You, a self-help book.
We were talking about Steve Guttenberg yesterday, remember?
Yeah.
And Tom Hanks.
Mm-hmm.
These are some of the most likable guys in Hollywood. Not talking about how good or bad of an actor they are. Of course, Tom Hanks is a great actor. But if
who are Guttenberg and Hanks?
I think they are. But if you had to make a list of the top 10 most likable A-list actors, would you put Cuba Gooding Jr. on there?
Oh man,
who doesn't like him? He's the most likable guy in the world.
Is he completely A-list though?
I would consider him an A-lister.
He does have an Academy Award.
Yeah.
He's got an Academy Award
for radio.
Yep.
No, he won it for Jerry Maguire.
Oh, he best
he
supporting
did
actor.
Jerry Maguire.
Did not win anything for radio. He was great in radio.
If you win an Academy Award, you're A-list for the rest of your life.
Okay. I'd have a lot of if you likable, and then also like. I think when you put likable, like I really want to have a beer with that guy.
You know who I always think
I get to talk about Boys in the Hood a lot.
But one of the most likable character or likable actors is the one guy that I'll throw at you. When he did play bad guy roles, it was all like, oh my god, he was so good at it. That was Denzel in Training Day.
Yep. Oh yeah, yep. He won it for that.
Like Denzel is probably one of the most likable.
Unfortunately, I'm telling you, that was a makeup when he should have won it for Malcolm X.
Oh yeah, but there are all kinds of makeups. I think I like Leo DiCaprio.
Do you?
He has a ton of movies I like.
I never thought he was a likable guy. You want to
know
why?
I even like Titanic. I'm not gonna lie, I did like it.
Just simply because he's got what I call the tough guy squint. All right, now this guy has never worked a blue-collar job in his life. He's probably never been in a fist fight in his life.
Oh, no.
But yet, on every magazine cover he's on, he does the tough guy squint, which is like this.
Where
he looks at you like he can kick your ass.
He's got the James Dean face.
Well, you know what? I think he's a pretty boy that's never got a callus on his hand in his life.
Well, I don't disagree with you there.
He's a great actor. His movies are good.
I just like his movies, and that's what he's likable because I liked his.
He always seems like he's out of touch to the modern day, everyday blue collar man.
Oh, he's out of touch.
Denzel
Washington.
Washington.
Every picture I see of him is on a yacht.
Yes,
and with 5 girls.
You know, and
so I envy that. That's cool.
Denzel Washington, he doesn't seem like he's out of touch.
No, Denzel doesn't.
Tom Hanks
really doesn't.
Tom Hanks seems like he could walk into any Midwestern bar and sit down and talk to anybody. Leo doesn't have that. And maybe
and Hanks and I probably disagree politically 100%. But I like Hanks. Still like Hanks.
Yeah, Tom Hanks now or Tom Hanks 20 years ago is a difference. He did it now. It'd be creepy if some old guy just started giving me his views on life or whatever else. I feel like he would just be like, I'm Tom Hanks, and just start talking to me about all his views about certain things and pushing them on me.
I think Tom Hanks would ask as many questions as he answered. That just seems like the type of guy he is. And that's a good conversationalist.
Yeah, phone call real quick.
Phone call. All right, you're on Don't Hassle Us or Local. Who do we have?
Hey, Serge.
Yo, Serge.
Hey, buddy.
What's up in the Hassle Palace, fellas?
He always sounds different on phone.
I know.
It's
They all do.
It's so weird.
What's up, buddy?
Now, much you guys are missing one, fellas.
What's that?
Who?
Morgan Freeman.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about him yesterday.
Yeah, we did talk
Morgan
about him
Freeman.
yesterday. Yeah, at the beginning of it. Yes.
I wish the sisters could.
Oh yeah, one of the most likable celebrities, actors, and talk about sit down in a Midwest bar and have a drink with.
I would love to hang out with
Serge.
with
What?
I might actually shut up for a second and listen to someone else talk if it was Morgan Freeman.
You're absolutely right, man.
What would Morgan Freeman order at the bar?
What would he order?
Yeah. God, this is a good question. I wish you were in here. We could do this. We could go through everybody. What would Morgan Freeman
Well,
order?
Depends on what kind of day it was. Today was a hot one. Sometimes that Moscow Mule might be.
How about a
cool on the book.
Bohemian style?
I was just going to say that.
It's like, seriously, he sits down and he's like, you know what, bartender's choice. And you would say, like, you look like you're the type of guy that would drink this.
See,
I would instantly make him. I would do him the honor of making him the best old fashioned I could possibly make.
There you go.
He reminds me of like a bourbon guy. I would call him a bourbon guy.
I could make him a bourbon old fashioned.
Yeah.
Now, what would Leo DiCaprio order?
A spritzer.
White Claw.
Hey, as I'm drinking a Bud Light seltzer.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't.
He'd have a pink squirrel.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can drink this because I am secure in my alcoholism.
He'd order a white wine spritzer and call me old chap or something like that.
Yep.
All right, the other actor, Serge, while we got you on there, that I think would be great to hang out with, Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God, yeah.
He's on the stuffy British side, which is cool.
But I feel that he's not that stuffy.
I think he's a martini, wouldn't you say?
Oh, he's dry martini.
Yes.
Hands down.
But I would just... Sure doesn't want a nice Chianti?
Yeah, I think he'd want that with a fresh... Yeah, with some liver and a fresh Chianti.
Some fava beans.
And the other guy...
Good to hear you guys' voices here.
All right, buddy.
Take care. Thanks for calling
All
in,
right,
Serge.
I'll talk to you guys soon. I'll be back on next week.
Perfect.
Okay.
Love it. Thank you.
The next one, I think, too, Jeff Bridges. Lebowski himself.
Who would you rather have a drink with, Jeff Bridges or Jeff Goldblum?
Ooh, Bridges.
And what would Jeff Goldblum drink?
Goldblum's drinking like a cosmopolitan.
I'm thinking he's ice water.
You don't think he drinks?
He's just such a weird
Tap
dude.
water,
Yes.
no ice. Just tap water, no ice.
Tap
Just
water.
Now, if I can go back...
No, he'd order it like this. He'd say, tap water. Neat.
If you can go back...
Yeah, neat. Room temperature, preferably, if you've got it.
If I can go back and have a drink with anybody ever, actor of all time, I'm going back and having one with the Duke.
Oh, gosh, John Wayne.
And I guarantee the Duke is having Jack Daniels neat.
Yep. Over, and he's going to tell the bartender, he says, look here, kid. You pour me one every time you see this one getting low.
Yep.
And he would be in there all day.
The Duke, baby.
And he'd handle his liquor like a champion.
Oh, yeah, he would.
He'd go through like 5 or 6 Jack and Cokes, and
He's
then
an alcoholic.
and then he'd beat somebody up half his age.
Yeah, I want to sit down and drink with that dude.
John Wayne.
Well, we got to wrap this up because we're going to do our second break at the 56 of the hour here because we got to go 2 minutes in, and then it takes 2 minutes to do it, and then we got to do our outro song, and that way we don't go over and it doesn't get kicked out
So
of
we're
the
doing
Zetalog,
Shooter
so I don't get
McGavin?
in trouble. Yeah, do Shooter McGavin quick. That's fine.
That's Happy Gilmore?
Yeah, Happy Gilmore. Shooter McGavin. So
He's on the Hassle bracket, by the way, for best villain. So go to Twitter and do that. By the way, if you do that,
Shooter continues to have a great PGA career.
I agree.
I mean, nothing, but he does get in a little trouble though for all the people he hired to try to hurt Happy. So he does have to go through they make him go to like this counseling,
Mhm.
PGA counseling tour or whatever you say. He has to do a bunch of public relations, and him and Happy end up being good friends.
Wow.
And he helps Happy polish his game and become one of the greatest golfers of all time.
Wow.
I'm lost. Shooter McGavin is Adam Sandler's?
No.
That's
Easy-
Billy.
That's Happy Gilmore.
That's Happy Gilmore.
Who's Shooter McGavin?
He's the guy that he's like shooter.
Yeah, he's
okay.
the foil to his.
Yeah.
I think, I've seen that movie once. I think Adam Sandler's character, Happy Gilmore, and Apollo Creed, I think they go after Shooter McGavin
Chugs.
and beat him up, take his money, and that's the end.
According to Nicole Auerbach, T-Roy, she says Shooter McGavin currently plays in the PGA Champions Tour, but most of his income comes from the television ads he does for competing men's health medication companies. He and Happy Gilmore remain in touch sporadically, but their relationship has been strained since Happy was booted from the tour following his 5th assault charge. So, like you said, he stays on the tour, but I think he does exactly what you says. He does PSAs, and then he turns around and he just does commercials for Roman.com for erectile dysfunction and stuff.
There you go.
Yeah, I think that's what it would be.
Snoop Dogg did it.
Who was Kevin Costner's character in Tin Cup?
Roy McAvoy.
Yes. What's he doing real quick?
Oh God,
Does he make a comeback?
I can't say it. He's still he's still having fun with Renee. What's her name? Not Renee. What's her real name?
I know who you're talking about.
Renee no.
What's her name?
Russo.
Renee Russo.
Renee Russo, yeah.
She was his psychologist, right?
Oh my God, she's so hot.
And is he back running the driving range?
Who cares? He's still taking care of her every night.
Yeah.
She was a model, went straight to acting for Major League.
Yeah.
The movie Major League, which we never got to Ricky Vaughn. We can keep
Ricky
going.
Vaughn's
We
in
do
jail.
more of this
Like,
tomorrow.
Ricky Vaughn goes back to jail.
Well, we already know kind of what he did in Major League 2, how he got, Hollywood it all up. Not Hollywood, that was William H. Hayes, but he got all big with his endorsement deals and everything. Kind of
You had
lost his
Sidney
focus.
Dean on here, and I feel that
Sidney Dean
Sidney
would be
Dean
good.
goes on to play for the NFL as well and becomes a dominant defensive back.
After? Really?
Here's a good one for you.
No, he plays 2 sports.
Oh.
Shane Falco from The Replacements.
Sure, hit me with Shane Falco. We got a little
I
bit
never
of
saw
time.
The Replacements.
Never saw that movie?
No.
He was a college standout that broke his knee.
Was that Keanu Reeves?
Yes,
Yeah.
he got to play in the strike season where they had to bring in replacements.
It reminds me of another guy, Gene Hackman.
Well, he was in that movie.
He was in that
I
movie,
know,
yeah.
He
that's
was the
what I'm
coach,
saying.
yeah.
Would you like to hang out with Hackman?
Of course I would.
I'd like to hang out with
Hackman would be solid.
I think Keanu Reeves would be a weird guy to hang out with.
I want to hang
I
out
think
with him.
Keanu's a little off.
Yeah, he is. I think Shane Falco, after that season, he played so well that he, what was the girl that played in that movie, the head cheerleader?
Annabelle.
Yeah, she was hot.
Yeah.
I think they end up getting married. They have 10 kids. He signs a small contract. He plays 2 years in the NFL and makes enough money to spend the rest of their lives in happiness, and so be it. And he was a lefty, too. That makes a quarterback even cooler.
Jimmy, thank you so much for today. We'll see you tomorrow. T. Roy, thank you for being in here as well. You guys.
Whatever happened to Kathy Ireland?
We'll talk about it tomorrow.
She's in Ireland.
We got to go. You guys
Love,
take
peace,
care.
and chicken
Quad
grease.
Cities, enjoy yourselves. Stay safe and sanitized.
God
This
bless.
is Randall, the QC hot dog guy. You're listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
ESPN 1170 AM.
Ace Muffler Clinic has been serving the Quad Cities area for over 60 years. There's a reason why our customers continue to trust us with their vehicles. We can fix almost anything. We can fix your muffler, tune your brakes, change your oil, change your tires, replace your battery, customize your exhaust, tune your engine, repair your suspension, replace your radiator and your water pump. Align your automobile, refill your transmission fluid, and change your filters. And we believe in doing all those things right the first time.